All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the stream. Welcome if you're new. Thank you guys so much for joining me today, and thank you for waiting patiently for the intro to finish up there. Really appreciate it. Hope everybody is doing well today. I think... Oh, no, we're on time here. I thought I was running a little bit late there, but no, we are good. Saying boss is just chilling. Oh, wow. Yeah, he actually is next to me. You guys can't see him, but he is chilling next to me. Leia's back there, though. I rearranged the room a little bit. Brought the couch back in. Not sure if anybody notices. Like, I don't know. It doesn't look dramatically different, but I did rearrange the bedroom here a little bit more. Maybe not as much room for, like, doing intense working out of any kind, but I had to consider the comfort factor. You know what I mean? Boss is on my bench, though. He wants to do some reps. But yeah, thank you guys so much for being here today. We are talking about some more topics. I'm going to let you know what we're going to be talking about. So you're probably wondering, what's up with the PlayStation Showcase Part 2 in the title, in the thumbnail? Well, I'm actually referring to the first stream I did, which I guess was like a couple of days ago. I know it wasn't the last stream. I think it was the stream before that, where we talked about the PlayStation Showcase. And I feel like I kind of let you guys down a little bit during the course of that stream. Like, boss is in here. Just so you know, boss is in here. He's not on the other side of the door. He's right there. Okay. Anyway, yeah. This is basically going to be PlayStation Showcase Part 1 and 2. I feel like I let you guys down a little bit during that stream because I got way sidetracked, and I really should have titled it like we're going to talk more about Hellblade and Xbox, a continuation of the last stream. And people were definitely expressing their frustration or disappointment in that they came here to hear me talk like more in depth about not just the showcase, but like some of the studios and some of the things I would hope to see. And so I figured, you know what, we'll kind of do that today. I got the feedback. We're not just talking about that, though. We have other topics as well. One of the other topics is about $70 games. A CEO of a gaming publisher and a game development studio pretty much believes that $70 video games are just a phase and they are actually going to go away. And I thought this was very interesting because I don't think I've seen anybody say something like that. And I kind of just want to react to it and give my thoughts on it and let you know whether or not I agree or disagree. We're also going to be talking about, once again, future Microsoft games coming to PlayStation because there's just seemingly a new headline or two every week in regards to this specific topic. But this time, it's in regards to a new engine that is being built for a new game at Xbox Game Studios that specifically mentions targeting... I believe they worded it as third-party consoles. Well, that's PlayStation and Nintendo. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We have other bonus topics as well that I have here that, depending on where we are by the time we get later into this show today, maybe we'll have time to talk about them. But before I dive into any of these topics, I do want to just, first off, thank you guys for supporting the content and supporting the channel. If you're watching live, shout out to you guys. Taking time out of your day to come hang out with me really means a lot. If you're somebody who can't catch the live streams, but you're watching them later, just want to shout you out as well. Very much appreciate that. The viewership obviously helps tremendously. Do me a favor and hit that like button, guys. We are sitting at 66 likes. I don't know what it is. Every spring and summer, I start to see the number 66 pop up everywhere, man. Like, just everywhere. I don't know what it means. Something's trying to communicate a message to me, and I don't know if I can get them from receiving the message or not. I see the numbers. Whoa. Boss, don't scare me like that. Especially when I'm talking about the number 66. Is that the number that summons boss? But anyway, yeah, hit that like button, guys. We are already sitting now at 77 likes. If you want to make boss happy, hit that like button. That always cheers boss up. But yeah, there are 3 ways you can support. No, not 666, 66, just 66, not 3 sixes. Okay. Sometimes I see the number 666, but not that frequently. I don't know. I looked it up a while ago, and apparently seeing the number 666 isn't actually that bad. Like it's not necessarily a bad omen. Not entirely anyway. Anyway, 3 ways you can support my channel and my content and this community directly. I will always continue to let you guys know before we get into any of the topics that this channel is fan-funded. I'm sponsored by you guys. I don't run sponsorships. I don't, do anything like that. And so you guys fund the channel. You guys fund the content. You guys make this possible. So there are 3 ways you can do that. Consider becoming a channel member, gain access to some exclusive perks. One of those perks is the Members Lounge. We are going to be doing a Members Lounge after today's stream. So if you are a channel member, look forward to that. Number 2, consider gifting memberships. Okay, it's a big thing we do here with the community. I know people really appreciate that. I don't know what the hell that noise was. But I swear, man, I always hear these random noises, and I could just never tell where they're coming from. I'm like an animal in that way. But anyway, I say I'm like an animal that way because I'm referring to my cats, dude. Specifically, Boss. Not to get too sidetracked here, dude. Boss. For some, I don't know what's up with him, but like when there's a sound coming from somewhere, he thinks it's coming from the opposite direction. Like it's something that me and my wife make fun of Boss for all the time because it's so funny. Because it's just like, I thought cats were supposed to be on point with this stuff. But Boss is a slightly different cat, I guess. Anyway, I'm sorry. Consider gifting channel memberships. Last but certainly not least, consider dropping a super chat like ACM has done here. Ask a question, give an opinion, make a statement, anything in between. It all helps tremendously. And so once again, a big thank you and shout out to everybody in this community who makes this possible. You guys are legends. Seriously, thank you. But ACM with a $5 super chat saying, how crazy would it be if Mongolia and Germany teamed up and gave it one last try? Yikes. Yikes, ACM. Well, you know what? I'm going to take this in a different direction. If you're saying that would make for a pretty good premise for like some kind of game in the future, maybe. Sure. Maybe some kind of game about a future war. The future world conflict, but damn, ACM, you're just I don't know I don't know like I don't know what influenced you to drop that super chat on my stream here, but I do appreciate the $5 super chat, bro. I'm over here being like, yo, PlayStation Showcase. Unknown, you're saying South Park joke. Is that a South Park joke? If it is, I'm in the dark because I haven't watched South Park in a long time, dude. All right. But yeah, ACM, thank you for that. We're just going to dive right into the PlayStation Showcase conversation. Okay. Just as a brief, recap, Sony is apparently planning a showcase for May. So it seems like they're going to kind of follow the path that they started on last year, which is, hey, we're going to do a showcase in May. Not normally when we do showcases. That's not like a normal, I would say, month to expect a showcase. But Sony did it in May last year, and now we're hearing that they are apparently going to do it in May again. And so there's a lot of stuff we don't know. That's pretty much all we know. We don't know when exactly in May. I think the assumption is that this PlayStation Showcase will occur probably the 3rd or 4th week of May, like closer to the end of it. We don't know how long it'll be. We don't know exactly what's going to be there. Jeff Grubb, the one who let us know this, is basically saying that Sony does have some smaller first-party games to reveal. But I do want to talk, more in depth about, well, number one, PlayStation Studios specifically. Like, we could talk about third parties and like third-party studios that we expect to be there, or third-party exclusives or games. So I want to talk a little bit more about PlayStation Studios, but I also want to talk about general expectations, because I actually put out a members-only post earlier this morning, And I was basically just saying, like, you know, Sony's got to bring that showcase. It seems likely they're going to go bigger this year. And there were quite a few people that were like, well, man, hey, didn't you say you weren't going to get your hopes up? Don't get your hopes up, MBG. We know what's going to happen. We know what's going to happen if you get your hopes up, MBG. And it's like, yeah, I hear you. It's hard. It's hard. Can I skip to the MGS3 remake news? Well, I'm going to let you know, Elijah, that there's no specific news about Metal Gear Solid 3 remake. I put Snake in the thumbnail because I honestly saw a picture. When I was making the thumbnail, I saw a picture of Snake. I'm like, yo, that looks cool. I want to use that. But actually, I was going to talk about how it would be fantastic to see Metal Gear Solid 3 Delta or Metal Gear Solid Delta once again show up at the PlayStation Showcase, this time with a full gameplay trailer, a release date. I would love to see that. Yeah, Metal Gear Solid Delta Triangle Snake Eater Remake 3. Yes. I can't wait to see more of this. Titus Crow, you're saying, do you think the South will rise again or Xbox? No, to the first question. Again, not sure where this is coming from, but just a hard no, Titus Crow, on the first question. The second question, will Xbox rise again? Maybe. Xbox as a console, I don't think will rise again. Xbox as a brand and a platform, I think the potential is there. For sure. So Titus, bro, thank you so much for that super chat. I did say you can ask questions. So you definitely are asking a question there, Titus. Also, I had this mark right here on the bridge of my nose. Dude, I just looked in the mirror like 2 days ago and I had this like red mark right in the bridge of my nose. Have no idea where it came from. It's like the second time I got a mark right in this exact spot. I have no clue what caused it, where it came from. Actually says Xbox never really rose to begin with. I mean, yeah. Well, you know, it's interesting because speaking of PlayStation showcases, there's a lot of conversation happening right now about this upcoming Xbox showcase. And I don't know, it seems like it's weird because I feel like every year we learn like so much about the Xbox showcases, but we learn so little about Sony's. And I'm hoping this year that can work in Sony's favor. You know, I'm positive. I'm 100% positive this will not be the last time we talk about the PlayStation showcase before it actually happens. But if not too much of it leaks out, this could maybe work in Sony's favor where they actually, you know, turn up with a few different surprises. Will the British Empire rise again? Will the Soviet Union return? I'm going to say no. Like, I just don't see any of these things happening. The question we should be asking is Sony going to have a good PlayStation showcase this year? Now that, I say yes. Leia, why do you want to... Look, come on. Leia, come over here. Psst. Come on. Come hang out. You've only been in here for like 10 minutes. Come hang out. All right. So, Ragu Bagu says the fire rises. Well, check this out. The big question, at least on my mind, when it comes to the PlayStation showcase, is which PlayStation studios are going to be there? Which PlayStation studios are going to be there? Which ones, honestly, like not... I don't want to talk about... All right. Here's what I'm going to do. For this PlayStation Showcase conversation, I'm going to talk to you about the studios that I hope, that I want to show up at this year's showcase. But when we get closer to it, I'm going to have another conversation with you guys where I'm going to talk to you about the studios that I think are most likely to be at the showcase. Now, obviously, we could take this in an extreme direction. I would like every PlayStation studio to be at the showcase, but I'm not going to go that far. But I'll tell you which ones that I want to see show up at this year's showcase, because I think, well, I don't think it's likely or unlikely. It's just I think that we're at that kind of point with PlayStation right now where anything can happen, essentially, is what I'm trying to say. So even though I'm going to preface this by saying the studios I want to show up, I'm going to tell you to keep your expectations in check. Don't necessarily expect that, but it could happen. Like, absolutely. We are at that point with PlayStation, with the PS5, with their studios, with the games that are in development. So you can keep that in mind as well. So let's start with, let me see. Well, I'm not gonna go in specific order this time. The number one studio for me that I want to be at the PlayStation Showcase, like above all other studios, is Sucker Punch. And the reason I say this is because I am so eager to see what Sucker Punch has been working on for what'll be basically close to the last 4 years. I've been playing Rise of the Ronin, and Rise of the Ronin is really bringing me back to when I was playing Ghost of Tsushima the first time, but also the second time with the director's cut. And it's just really, there's so many areas in Rise of the Ronin that look so similar to Ghost of Tsushima, but it's also not Ghost of Tsushima. And it's just kind of getting me in this frame of mind where I'm like, dude, I feel so ready to see this game. I feel so ready to see what Sucker Punch can deliver next, because I don't think PlayStation Studios has been like disappointing or anything like that. So don't take anything I say this way, but I feel like PlayStation Studios has kind of been, they've been mostly just doing exactly what they're supposed to do and living up, I would say, mostly to the expectation up until this point. But again, so much of that has been kind of, I don't want to say it's been like, it's been like hampered necessarily by, cross-gen, but I mean, it kind of has. And what's most exciting to me about Ghost of Tsushima, a sequel, and Sucker Punch is that, like, dude, they're probably not only just, like, they've been just working exclusively with the PS5, but now they're even probably working with the PS5 Pro. And I'm just like, dude, this is the perfect time to show this game. And I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, up until this point, there's been very few moments that feel like next-gen moments. In fact, I would say the closest thing we got to a next-gen moment this generation so far is maybe with something like Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. I think Ghost of Tsushima and Sucker Punch, assuming that they are working on a sequel, which I think is obvious they are. Actually, job listings have proven they are. This, to me, feels like this is the moment. Like, this is the moment for Sony to be like, you've been waiting for that real next-gen moment. Here it is, Ghost of Tsushima 2, right on the PS5, right on the PS5 Pro. I think the time is right. I do. And I just have such high expectations for this game. And that's not even talking about the direction they're going to go in with the story or the characters or Jin Sakai or anything like that. But Ray, you're saying, MBG, did you ever play the Legends DLC? Yes, I did. And I got every trophy. I did the raid. Dude, I'm telling you, man, I was all in. So on my profile, I have about 131 hours played of Ghost of Tsushima, which is a lot for me. Like, for a single player game, and even, I think the multiplayer component probably added, honestly, a good 30 to 35 hours of gameplay time, maybe even longer than that. Yeah, I did everything in Ghost of Tsushima, dude. I have 100% completion. I was honestly disappointed when I finished everything in the Ghost of Tsushima Legends, because I'm like, I want to keep playing this game. Like, I did everything there was to do. I unlocked everything there was to unlock. And I'm like, damn, I know they're not making more content for this because it's not like a live service, but man, I want to keep playing this game. And so the number one studio that I believe, well, I don't want to say needs to be there, but that I want to be there. Like, to be clear, if this is the only PlayStation studio that shows up, I will still criticize Sony for that. But if they show up with Ghost of Tsushima 2 and it really delivers that next-gen moment, like, oh my God, we've made it. Like, we did it. I will be very happy. I'll be very happy, and I'll be very excited. I don't expect, to be clear, I don't expect Ghost of Tsushima to be a 2025 game. I think 2026 at the earliest. Did I play the Icky Island expansion? I did. Yes, I played that as well. 100% of that as well, dude. Yes. Yeah, every piece of content that was created for Ghost of Tsushima, I consumed it in its entirety. Like I really, dude, I really enjoyed the story of Ghost of Tsushima as well. I feel like the story of Ghost of Tsushima is a little bit underrated, and the Icky Island DLC, where it focused on his relationship with his father, was so good, dude. That was so good. And I just can't wait. I can't wait. Yeah, so here's my prediction with Ghost of Tsushima. If it shows up at the showcase, I want it to show up. I don't think it's going to be a teaser trailer. To be clear, like, I don't think it's just going to be some like 30-second like basic pan of the world. Like, I think it's going to be something that's it's meant to pack a punch. No pun intended, considering the studio's name is Sucker Punch. I think it's going to be something that's meant to come out and just and make a statement. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's going to be the purpose of a game like Ghost of Tsushima showing up at a 2024 PlayStation showcase. I hope it does, dude. If it doesn't, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie. If Sucker Punch doesn't show up at the showcase this year, I'm going to be pretty disappointed. So I'm like, how? Like, the time is right. The time is right. So that's like the number one studio I am looking for. Like, I want to see, and I'm looking forward to hopefully showing up at this PlayStation showcase. Yeah, exactly, Irfan. You're saying like the Horizon Forbidden West reveal, but even more so, you know, I'm so curious, man. Like, because here's the thing. I think that there were some imperfections with Ghost of Tsushima, and I think that's kind of obvious. But I think the reason for those imperfections is because it's a brand new IP, and it was Sucker Punch's first time, I think, really trying to make a game like this big and ambitious. And since then, again, the game sold over 10 million copies. It's a huge success for Sony. Dude, honestly, Sucker Punch has probably gotten so much more support internally from Sony, like just a bigger budget, just more. They probably hired more developers. They probably have the ability now to, I think, really, really deliver that next gen moment that I'm kind of referring to here. Chris Brown with a $5 super chat says, I don't get the hate that PlayStation gets. Who else is making AAA 30, 40, 60, 120 FPS games at that quality? Most studios can't even manage releasing games that work. I don't get it either, Chris. I'll be honest with you, man. Like, I don't get it here. So the most I can do to rationalize this, truthfully, is, wow, you are rude. Sorry, guys. Dude, Boss just knocked something over again. He didn't even care. Anyway, Chris, the most I can do to rationalize this is I'm assuming it's just Sony has created a higher expectation for, like, just based off of what you're saying, right? Like, Sony's just been delivering in a way that we haven't seen many other video game publishers deliver. They've had a level of consistency that a lot of other video game publishers have just not been able to achieve. And I think it has just created this higher expectation, even on a subconscious level, to where, I just spit everywhere, to where even if they miss it by a little bit, or things start to slow down, it's like it becomes way more noticeable because it's, whoa, what's going on? Like, we have this expectation of you, Sony. And we got Titus coming in. Titus is coming in, dropping 5 membership gifts for you guys, starting off the day strong. Titus is like, look, we're going to get this membership train going. We're going to get it going at, I would say full speed. We'll just say full speed. Titus is saying full speed ahead with the membership train. Titus, thank you for that, bro.
Thank you.
Really appreciate the support. Guys, I want to see some W's flowing in the chat for Titus. He's kicking it off today. Oh, do you guys see that? Do you see Leia? Oh, you can't see it. Damn it. Leia's licking Boss's head. Maybe you can see it a little bit. And Boss is getting extremely excited, not because of Leia, because there's birds outside, dude. You can see his tail wagging. He's, yo, don't do it, Boss. Don't do it. Last thing I need is him jumping out this damn window. He's gonna break right through the screen. But yeah, there are birds outside, and he's getting very, yo, did you just see that? Oh my god, I don't know if you guys can see this. For some reason, Leia just swiped the shit out of Boss. She just like punched him like 3 times in the face. Oh my god, I'm sorry. I don't know what they're doing over there, dude. I think Boss is really starting to annoy Leia. I think that's what it is. Like, he's just straight up like out of my way. And we got Jake TRML keeping this membership train going. Jake drops a membership gift for you guys. Jake brings us up to 6 members on the day.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Jake, thank you for that, man. I really do appreciate that. Remember, guys, I didn't say this at the beginning of the stream, but you know the deal. We hit 25 members today. Boss is going to get some treats. For those wondering, Leia doesn't like treats, at least the ones I have. I don't know why. So if we hit 25 members, we'll give Boss some snacks. And if we hit 50 members today, we'll do some reps. You know how it goes. But Chris, yeah, man, that's all I can really think of. I think it's just that there's such a high expectation for Sony, and if there's any moment where they're not living up to that expectation or meeting that expectation, I think people kind of just go off the deep end where it's like, well, Sony sucks now. And it's like, well, do they really? Or, you know, or are they just not, are they having years, like maybe a year that's just not as strong as the last like 3 or 4, you know? And that's what I don't get. Hold on one sec, guys. I'll be right back. All right, sorry about that. Had to let Leia out. She was getting very upset over there at the door. I think Boss like legitimately pissed Leia off. She was like, "Let me out right now." We have Unintended Studios with a $5 super chat saying, your monthly Japanese lesson for me. Oh, thank you, Unintended. Yeah, I keep forgetting about this. I is pronounced E, like E-E. So it's Iki, not Icky. Thank you, Unintended Studios, I'm glad you're here, man. Giving me these lessons. I had the same problem with like Tsushima. I think I say that right now. But I think at one point, like early on when I was first like talking about it, I didn't know how to properly pronounce Tsushima. I forget exactly how I was saying it. It was like Tushima or something. But Iki. Okay, not Icky. Well, all right, I'll try to remember that. I feel like somebody told me that a while ago, but I just like completely disregarded it. But Unintended Studios, you're telling me now, so I believe you. Iki Island. Yeah, all right. You know me and my pronunciation, especially of foreign languages. But I appreciate the super chat, buddy, and I appreciate that lesson. Yeah, true American here. Unintended Studios, you're saying it was you before as well? Okay. Yeah, I'm glad I'm not the only one. MBG, did you see that they just announced Star Wars Outlaws Day 1 and Ubisoft Plus for $17? Why? Do Ubisoft want to die? Could move millions. I don't get it. No, I didn't see that, actually. Interesting. Let me go check this real quick. Ubisoft's pulling a Microsoft. And of course, Twitter. Dude, Twitter's so fucking useless, man. Oh my God. I go there thinking, surely there'll be some information. Let me see if I can bring this up here. Was this just announced? Because I see a bunch of reports saying the release date leaked, but like, wasn't there just a trailer? see, the official story trailer for Star Wars Outlaws, pre-order today, August 30th. Okay, so August 30th. Play up to 3 days early with the Gold or Ultimate Edition, which includes the base game and a season pass. All right. I mean, I don't have a problem with a season pass for a single player game as long as it is worth it. Let me go check. Let me check Ubisoft. I'm not seeing anything about Ubisoft Plus though. Let me check the website. This is really interesting to me. Oh, you're right. You're right. Play 3 days early with Ubisoft Plus Premium. $17.99, $18 a month. They're out of their minds, bro. They are out of their minds. At least for me, like $18 for a sub service. No, thank you. No, thank you. I mean, look, I could kind of, if you're somebody that's like, I just want to pay for it for 1 month just for this game. Yeah, see, that's what's weird to me, dude. That's what's weird to me about this is I think you're right. I'll get back to talking about the PlayStation Showcase, but I didn't know that they just announced this. This game has the potential to sell so well. Why would you give people that option to just say, I'm going to pay $18 for 1 month? Of course, you're not going to own the game, but that could be a mistake on their part. But we'll see. I mean, I'm assuming a lot of thought went into that. I don't think that that's something they did necessarily hastily where they're like, oh, yeah, just throw it in there. They probably, did the calculations. They did the risk versus reward. But I don't know. That game looks pretty good. Jay Shaka, you're saying it was announced ages ago. Hold on. Are you sure? Are you sure? Because this is the first I'm hearing of this. It being available day one in Ubisoft Plus Premium. Play up to 3 days early with Ubisoft Plus Premium, the Gold or the Ultimate Edition. Experience the first ever open world Star Wars game. I didn't realize that this was the first ever open world Star Wars game. Interesting. Yeah, I think this might be the first time they're announcing it's going to be on Ubisoft Plus Premium. Treble Champ, is that... Okay, if this is true, I'm totally out of the loop then. Treble Champ, you're saying that all Ubisoft games launch on Ubisoft Plus? Are you sure? Dude, I feel like that's wrong. I mean, maybe you're right, but holy shit. Dude, if that's true... My God, Ubisoft has not been making that clear because I had no idea. And 3 days early? Bro. What? That is, dude, if that's true, I have not known about this whole time, where has their marketing been? I literally buy Ubisoft games sometimes, and I just never knew about this. To be fair, it wouldn't matter to me. I wouldn't subscribe to it anyway. But it's just the fact that like how could I miss this? Oh, okay, that would explain it. You're saying it's only for PC though. Okay, in that case, it explains a lot. I was gonna say, like, dude, if it was like this for PlayStation and Xbox, I'm certain I would have known about that. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know about these subscription services from specific publishers that are not platform holders. I don't know. I don't know if they're ultimately going to work out in the long run. I guess maybe it's like as long as they're like supplemental. I guess that works, but Star Wars Outlaws though, I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna play Star Wars Outlaws. Like, it looks good. Like the game itself and the gameplay, it looks good, but I don't know how I feel about it being a Star Wars game because I'm just not in the loop with Star Wars anymore, man. I'm not in the loop with Star Wars. I haven't been for some time. B Flesher saying, MBG bro, the way you play games and don't come back to it, isn't this type of thing perfect? I mean, yeah, I see where you're coming from. The idea of like, I'll gain access to it for as long as I want to play it, and then when I'm done, I move on and I don't go back. Yeah, I mean, you're probably not wrong there, but I think it has to do with the physical aspect of it. Like, if we were living in an all-digital world where there were no more physical games, you couldn't buy games physically, I would probably feel much more tempted at certain times for certain games to just subscribe, and treat it that way. But for me, I don't know. I still do care very much about buying physical games, owning them, having a tangible video game that I can do with what I please, whether it be collect it, put it on my shelf, sell it one day, or, if anything happens with the infrastructure or whatever, hopefully I'll still be able to play it, right? If there's no internet or whatever. I kind of, because that's the thing, is like I try to kind of flip a switch in my brain where imagine there's no physical games anymore. How do I feel? Like, does my view on subscription services change? Yeah, a little bit. Not entirely, but a little bit, yeah. You're saying you are all digital? Yeah, I think it does make a difference. Like, if I just woke up tomorrow and, like, my physical video game collection was just gone, it would like, definitely and then I found out that, and you can't ever buy another physical game again. I would definitely, my mindset on how I would view video games in general would likely change a little bit. You're saying if the Division 3 drops, you're subscribing, Lord Rabbit? I wouldn't subscribe for that, but I would definitely buy and play the Division 3. I really enjoyed the Division 2. I got the platinum for that. But yeah, I don't know. I'll have to see with the Star Wars game from Ubisoft. I saw the gameplay of it a while ago, and I was like, this does look very good. It does. But it's Star Wars. It's Star Wars. Like, Star Wars sucks. No, I mean, it kind of does. I don't know. I don't know if Star Wars sucks or not. I just haven't been paying attention to Star Wars for a very long time. Anyway, got a little bit off topic there, but we're gonna get back into the PlayStation Showcase conversation, and I was talking to you guys about the PlayStation first-party studios that I want to see at the showcase. The first studio is Sucker Punch, and I told you exactly why that is. Now, the second studio that I want, I don't know if they will. I don't know the likelihood. I'm not here to talk about it, but I just know what I want, and what I want Naughty Dog at the PlayStation Showcase in 2024. That's what I want. Naughty Dog, you need to show up. I want to see your new game. Show up. I want Blue Box. Yeah, I want Blue Box. We got Pain coming in. I think I'm saying her name. That's how I'm reading it. Pain coming in, dropping a membership on you guys. I think this is the first time I'm seeing him drop a membership.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So I noticed that Jake, TRML, and Payne both dropped individual memberships. That's something you guys can consider doing if you're interested, just dropping a single membership if you're here frequently, or, if you want to help us get to that goal. The single memberships definitely do help. I feel like I don't make that clear enough. We get a lot of 5 bombs and 10 bombs and 20 bombs, and those are amazing, obviously, and they help, but single memberships help a lot as well, too. So, Payne, thank you for that, man. You just brought us up to 7 members. But yeah, like, Naughty Dog, you need to show up at the PlayStation Showcase. I want to see what Naughty Dog's new game is, because I feel like I've been seeing so much of Naughty Dog since they released The Last of Us Part 2. I feel like I've been hearing from Naughty Dog so much, and it's all been about remakes, remasters, and at this point, a canceled live service game. And this depresses me, because somebody made it clear not that long ago. They were like, man, isn't it crazy to think that the last time we got an actual new Naughty Dog game reveal was in 2016? And that is mind-blowing to think about, in my opinion. Only because, again, we've heard from them so many times since then, and it's been and nothing we've heard from them has been about something new. I feel like it's different when a studio goes dark for a little while and a long time, and you think, okay, well, they're just working on something. And I feel like with Naughty Dog, it was just a different situation where it's like The Last of Us Part 2 was revealed in 2016. It came out in 2020. And then since then, for the last 4 years, again, we got a remaster, a remake, and the only new thing that we were excited to see was The Last of Us multiplayer, and that's gone now. But in the middle of all of this, there's been this persistent rumor that just won't go away, and it seems like it's not going away because there's truth to it. There's been this persistent rumor that they are working on a new IP, and that they've been working on it for a little while, alongside these other projects. You know, while they were working on The Last of Us 1 remake and The Last of Us Part 2 remastered, while they were working on this stuff, they were also working on this new single-player IP. I want to see what this game is, because I just feel like Naughty Dog as a studio, if I'm being completely brutally honest, I feel like they have truly... they've been knocked down a peg or two. Now, I know not everybody agrees with that. I know that there are people that love The Last of Us Part 2, and, you know, there's still so many people and fans that hold, oh yeah, and they released the Last of Us the Uncharted, the 2 games that were remastered for PS5 as well. Forgot about that. But I know that there's so many people that still hold Naughty Dog in such high regard as like they're one of the best studios ever. And I'm not here to argue that. I'm just saying, for me personally, Naughty Dog, I don't view them the same way anymore. They are not. They're not at the, like, when I think of like my favorite video game studios, they're no longer in the top 3 at this point in time. And that to me is disappointing, because I think a big reason for this, it's not so much just The Last of Us Part 2. It's just the fact that that's what, like, right now, Naughty Dog feels like The Last of Us studio. That's what it feels like. And I get it. Like, people might say, well, what's the problem with that? You know, like, isn't Santa Monica the God of War studio? Yeah, but again, I think the difference lies in the fact that with a studio being like Naughty Dog being The Last of Us studio, there's also a lot of controversy that surrounds that. There's a lot of controversy that surrounds Neil Druckmann, and I'm over all of that. You know, I'm tired of it. It's draining, and it's not what I come to play. I don't come to PlayStation for drama and bullshit. And I'm not blaming. Look, I'm not pointing a finger. I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just simply trying to say that I want Naughty Dog to show up at this showcase. I want them to show a new game, and I want that game to look damn good. That's it. That's all I want. That's all I want. So that's the second studio that I really, really want to see and hope to see this year at the PlayStation Showcase. Again, whether or not that will happen, we'll have a conversation about that as we get closer to it. But when I look over this list, another PlayStation first-party studio that I would love to see at the 2024 PlayStation Showcase, Team Asobi. Team Asobi, we last heard from them at the launch of the PS5 with Astro's Playroom. And obviously, they delivered in what is, in my opinion, obviously an incredible game. And I think that they really proved that, hey, like, we can really do something with this Astrobot character. And it's like, you know, I'm not expecting Team Asobi to light the world on fire and be like the talk of the showcase. Oh, you know what? Let me hit the pause button on this topic for a minute. Because thank you for bringing this up. I meant to talk to you guys about this. I didn't write it down. Here, boss, come over here. Come over here. Come on. You're saying SOCOM 111 title name got leaked. All right. I have to address this because, guys, look, I'm not here to tell you there is no new SOCOM game. What I'm here to tell you is that that specific leak or, that this situation with SOCOM 111, it's not, it's SOCOM 3. Okay, I looked into this a little bit, and because I was very excited when I first saw that, I was like, oh man, is there evidence of a new SOCOM? It turns out that it was an actor who worked on SOCOM 3 who actually passed away a couple of years ago. So that's worth noting. The actor actually passed away a couple of years ago, and they, I guess some fans who were looking up stuff regarding SOCOM, they came across their IMDb page, and he had SOCOM, like it was listed SOCOM 111. And it was pretty, once we found out that I think he passed away in 2022, once we found that out, it seemed kind of clear that, that's referring to SOCOM 3, which I think came out in 2005. It was, part of his previous work. And so, yeah, there was some confusion amongst fans where, and I get it, I would love to see SOCOM return, but I just wanted to address this and make it known that if you're seeing anybody talk about this specific rumor regarding SOCOM, it's false. Yeah, it's just, it was an actor, a deceased actor's IMDb page, I think, that referenced his work on SOCOM 3. I think Sony should absolutely do something with SOCOM. Yo, here's something that somebody brought up, though, that I was like, damn, that would actually be super fascinating, is apparently, again, Jason Blundell is working with PlayStation Studios. We don't know in which capacity. We don't know if Jason Blundell has his own studio. We don't know if Sony made a new studio. We don't know if he's working for a current PlayStation studio. We just know he's part of PlayStation Studios. And people were speculating, yo, what if Jason Blundell is working on a... No, hey, no. What if he's working on SOCOM for Sony? And I was like, now that would be interesting. I don't think that's likely, but that would certainly be interesting. Somebody as talented as Jason Blundell leading the way for a new SOCOM game. But yeah, I'm very curious to see what exactly he's doing at PlayStation Studios, because that was something that was revealed kind of accidentally. For those who don't know, Jason Blundell was originally working at the studio he founded that closed, Deviation Games, and they partnered with PlayStation. Obviously, things didn't go well, but it seems like Sony basically worked with Jason Blundell to be like, we still want to do something with you. And so Jason Blundell hired somebody, and this person that he hired was like, yeah, I'm excited to announce I'm working for Jason Blundell at PlayStation Studios. And everyone's like, huh? Wait, what? You think SOCOM's dead? I think it might be as well. But yeah, wanted to just clear that up before continuing my conversation about the PlayStation Showcase Part 2. But yeah, guys, Team Asobi. I want to see Team Asobi at the next PlayStation Showcase, because we know that they've been working on something Astro related for a while now, for a couple of years, and they're not the biggest team. It's hard to say if we could consider their next project full AAA, maybe smaller AAA, or maybe even AA. But I think the timing is right. I seriously still, I have such fond memories of playing Astro's Playroom, and it was just such a nice little surprise at the launch of the PS5. And I don't think their next game is going to be free for PS5 users. I think the way they're going to treat a new Astro game is it's going to be a full-blown game. Will it be a $70 title? I don't know about that. I could see it maybe being a $50 title, or a $40 title. But yeah, man, this is a studio that, again, I feel like if they were to show up at a PlayStation showcase this year, I think it would make a lot of people happy. Again, I don't think it's going to light the world on fire, but I think it's going to make people happy. It'll make me happy. So the 3 studios, as of right now, that I want to see at the next PlayStation showcase: Sucker Punch with a Ghost of Tsushima sequel, Naughty Dog with a new IP, and Team Asobi with a full-blown new Astrobot game for PS5 and maybe PSVR 2. Guys, boss is getting very angry and hungry. I'm gonna have to ask you to expedite the process of getting us to 25 members, because he won't stop eating my microphone stand. Boss, this is not a snack. I know you want your treats, bro, but biting these metal wires is not gonna do it. You gotta go chill over there for now, okay? All right, here's the next studio that I want to see at PlayStation Showcase. Well, that was weird. My chat just disconnected for a minute. Says, chat disconnected. Please wait while we try to reconnect you. Boss, did you do something? Boss is trying to communicate with the chat right now, bro. Straight up. Yeah, I'm not going to list Firewalk as a studio I want to see, because we know Firewalk's going to be there. Like 100%. Firewalk is 100% going to be at the next PlayStation Showcase. But yeah, the next studio. So I have 3 studios. I'm trying not to be too like crazy about it. Like, I want to see 10 PlayStation studios at the next showcase. No, but the next studio that I really hope to see. The next studio that I really hope to see at the next PlayStation Showcase is Bluepoint. Bluepoint, again, another studio we haven't heard from since the launch of the PS5, and we know what they did. Bluepoint showed up with Demon's Souls Remake, and in my opinion, they knocked it out of the park. Demon's Souls Remake was easily the game I was most excited to play at the launch of the PS5, because I never played the original. And I was just so hyped to have what is basically a From Software game that I never played, fully remade from the ground up by one of the most talented studios. And it's been a while. It's been a while since we've heard anything from them. Again, just as a reminder, the last we heard of Bluepoint Games, they made it clear we're not working on a remake or a remaster. Now, that to me is what makes Bluepoint so mysterious at this point in time, is because we know that when we see them again, they're going to have something new to announce. Now, could it be the continuation of a different game franchise like Uncharted or something, or any other franchise? Yeah, it absolutely could be. They didn't specifically say it's a new IP either, right? Days Gone 2. Dude, that would be the funniest thing ever. That would be the funniest thing ever. Bluepoint Games announces Days Gone 2. That would be so mind-blowing, and just, it wouldn't make any sense at all. That would make zero sense, but I'd be all for it just to see. I don't think they're doing... No, they're not doing Bloodborne 2. I don't think so. No way. It's interesting. There was this rumor for a while that Bluepoint was working on a Bloodborne remake, but then they stopped or something. Now, I will say... Here's what I will say. I am going to give Bluepoint a little bit of leeway here, because if this is their first time making their own game, then, I could imagine that maybe they'll run into some problems. And we have Steven Leon coming in out of nowhere, dude. Steven Leon coming in out of nowhere. Hold on. What is this? What is it? What is going on here? In the chat, MBG says, "Hey, I want my snacks." And then literally 1, 2, 3, 4 messages later, Steven Leon drops a 20 bomb? What is going on, boss? Yo, what is he doing? What is boss doing, bro? Steven Leon, dude.
Holy shit.
Thank you so much for that, bro. I did not see that one coming. Clearly, boss did. But, dude, boss spoke directly to Steven. Steven answered the call, man. Like, directly. I mean, literally. Like, I'm beginning to wonder, like, Steven Leon, are you actually boss? Boss is completely hijacking these streams, man. Even the chat. But with Steven Leon dropping 20 membership gifts, he not only crushes the goal and ensures that boss is going to get his snacks, but he brings us to 27 members on the day. I need to see more W's flowing in the chat for Steven because he just showed up big today. Steven just came through for boss. Let me update this goal for you guys. Really appreciate that, man. And we're at 27. And there we go, man. So just like that, we crushed the first goal of the day. You guys, again, you always pull through. You always show such amazing support. Steven, thank you once again, man. And boss, I'll give boss his snacks in a little bit. He's actually resting. I don't know how he did that because he's resting here peacefully. If we hit 50 members, though, you know how it goes. If we hit 50 members before the end of the stream, we'll do some reps. We'll do some reps at the end of the stream. And we also have Gavin Hillick here, a member for 11 months. He says, if you expect Ghost 2 in 2026, I don't expect Naughty Dog to have a brand new IP in the same time span after the remake, remaster, and multiplayer. That, Gavin, I think that's completely fair. And I should probably clarify that when I say I expect Naughty Dog, or I want Naughty Dog to show up, I say that in a more selfish way where I don't care if the game that Naughty Dog is making isn't coming till 2027 or the end of this generation. I don't care. I just want to see it. Like, I just want to know. You know what I mean? And I'm okay with waiting. Kind of similar to Wolverine, you know? Wolverine was revealed in 2021 and, you know, apparently it might not come out until 2026. I'm like, okay, that's a little bit too early, but it's nice to know that, hey, this is something I can look forward to. And I feel like if Naughty Dog wants to really get on a good path of getting fans excited and winning them back or winning some fans back, that's the way to do it. So I'm in agreement with you. I don't think if Ghost of Tsushima is going to be for 2026, I don't think Naughty Dog's going to have a game ready to go at that same time. I mean, well, we did kind of see that with The Last of Us Part 2 and Ghost of Tsushima, right? We have Angry Whale Watcher. Angry Whale Watcher comes in and drops a single gift on you guys. Another single gift. Again, guys, those of you dropping singles, thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate that. Those single gifts do add up, man. So, Angry Whale Watcher, thank you for keeping the membership train going and bringing us up to 28 members. We have William Aguilar here with a $10 super chat saying, oh, okay. So what William put in his super chat here is a tweet from many years ago from Blue Point Games. In fact, I think Blue Point Games put this tweet out even before Demon Souls released. And this is what it says. He says, so calm the spooky night, a symphony of rumors, not one, but two, return from shadow. A resistance to dart home as black monsters escape twisted hills to wander lands and siphon souls. What a nightmarish tweet, dude. Because it's just like, how many games did they just reference there, man? And William says, filter your candy collections soft from solid and be eco-friendly. Have a metal Halloween. Blue Point Games. What is that one, dude? I missed that one. Is that another tweet, William, that Blue Point Games put out? Because that's the first time I'm reading that. Oh, no. No, I do remember that. Yes. It's all coming. That's the one with the picture with the box, right? Like they had a couple of gift boxes lined up. It was like artwork. And to me, one of those boxes, it had red wrapping paper on it. And I'm like, that almost looks like a big red exclamation point, like an upside down big red exclamation point. Yeah, dude, I remember. You're saying, what do I have to do to get a Legend of Dragoon remake instead of being teased about it? I will say, that is one of the games that continually comes up on my channel from so many different people. Legend of Dragoon. We need a Legend of Dragoon remake. And it's something that, look, to be honest, I don't know the reach of a game like Legend of Dragoon. I never played it. So I can't say it's a game that I want. I can't say it's a game that I wouldn't want. I would have to see it. But what I do know is that is one of the games. I'd say that's probably one of the top 3 or 4 games. That's in the top 3 or 4 for sure of when people talk about, like a studio or Sony, or if it's even Bluepoint remaking something, that's one of the top 3 or 4 easily. William also says Legend of Dragoon is the only game that, if remade, would be worthy to be compared equally to Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth. Wow. That's pretty high praise. Yeah, again, it's a game I'm not familiar with, but I know it's held in such high regard. Titus says The Legend of Dragoon is my favorite PS1 game. I hope for a remake from Bluepoint. Damn, dude. At this point, I think I might start hoping for a remake because you guys talk about it so... Again, it's propped up so high. It's like, yeah, man. It feels to me like the equivalent of like Metal Gear. Like where I feel like Metal Gear, it's my favorite game ever. Like my favorite series ever, all throughout all the generations. And it's like MGS3 remake, one of the best things I could have ever asked for. I don't know if it's going to be as like, I hope it turns out as amazing as I am imagining in my head. But it's like one of those things where it's like, dude, I'm certain that people who haven't played Metal Gear, if they played Metal Gear Delta, like they're going to be like, whoa, dude, this is like one of my favorite games ever now. I imagine it's a similar situation with a game like Legend of Dragoon. Again, just based off the way people talk about it. My God, man. Lost his hairs everywhere. It's really warm out today, which is nice. But yeah, the cats are in full-blown shed mode now. But William, dude, thank you for the super chat spot. I do appreciate that. And thank you for reminding me of those legendary tweets from Bluepoint. Surely what they're working on had to have been teased one time there between everything. Right? Dude, that Metal Gear tease from them, though. Come on, Bluepoint. You can't do this to me. I'm waiting to find out Bluepoint's making like Metal Gear 6 or something. Like they just totally took on like a Konami property in agreement with Sony. There was a rumor a while ago that a new Castlevania game is in the works. I don't know. Oh, Irfan, yeah, me and you were all thinking the same thing. Fred, you're saying MBG for me, it would be Parasite Eve. That's another one I hear brought up a lot. Yeah, there are so many like PS1 games, like classic PS1 games or RPGs that, dude, I'll be honest with you. When I was playing PS1, I was very young. I was very, very young. I was not playing these sophisticated games at the time. Like I was in La La Land, basically. I don't even know. I don't know what the most sophisticated game I probably tried to play, if you want to call it sophisticated, was probably like Medal of Honor on PS1, which I struggled with. So these games I definitely missed out on. Like I missed the original Metal Gear Solid because I was just too young. I didn't even know about the game, you know? I had to go back and play it. Metal Gear Solid 2 is when I first came across the series. Shelly, a member for 9 months, says Uncharted's always been a graphical showpiece. Bluepoint's history with Uncharted trilogy and the graphics of Demon Souls, their original statement. The ad. Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm leaning as well, man. Because we've been hearing for a while now that there's some kind of Uncharted project in the works. There was a rumor before that it was going to be Uncharted 5. There was another rumor that claimed it was going to be an Uncharted 1 remake. And I I don't know. I don't know I don't know which I would prefer at that point. But you are right, Shelly, that if there's one thing that I would say a game like Demon Souls has proven is that when it comes to pushing the limit of how good you can make a game look on the PS5, like, dude, I'm telling you, go play Demon Souls if you want. Go look at it. Well, looking at it on YouTube with the compression doesn't do it justice. If you have Demon Souls, boot it up again. I encourage you, boot it up again on your PS5 and just look at it. It's one of the best looking video games ever made. Like, it still holds its own 4 years into this generation. It's like, I would go as far as say maybe even the best looking game. Maybe like up against like Ratchet and Clank. It's insane. And that was at the launch of the PS5, dude. So one thing I do feel confident in is that whether it's Uncharted or not, whatever Bluepoint Games is gonna reveal next, and again, maybe this is a perfect time. Maybe this is a perfect time for Bluepoint to show up alongside the PS5 Pro. They're gonna push the limits graphically. Actually, yeah, maybe that does make sense. Have Bluepoint ready to go for the Pro. But yeah, Uncharted, man. Trying to imagine what Uncharted would look like. Yeah, well, I mean, that's what's tough, man. You're right. Uncharted is always a graphical showpiece because Naughty Dog is unparalleled with what they can achieve with their own engine. So I would have to imagine that, look, if Bluepoint was working on Uncharted, I would have to imagine they're working with Naughty Dog a little bit. Not like directly, like not like Naughty Dog's like a support studio, but just kind of like consulting them and like, oh, maybe some of their, like maybe they gave them their engine to use. I don't know. We're gonna see. We're gonna find out. We have Dreadful83, a member for 9 months, saying, "I suck at Demon Souls." It is pretty tough. Demon Souls is pretty tough. It's definitely, you could tell it was Dark Souls before Dark Souls. It was like technically the original Dark Souls. If you I don't think that's lost on anybody, but yeah, I did struggle with it a little bit. The one thing I will never forget about playing Demon Souls Remake is there was one part of the game that should have been redone. And when I say redone, I mean like completely, in my opinion, completely changed. And it was, I forget the name of the boss, but it's like this big demon dragon thing. Maybe somebody can give me the name of it. I'm sure somebody here remembers the name of that boss, but it was like this boss where you just kind of have to run. It's hard to explain. Like, you just have to kind of dodge the dragon god. There you go. That boss battle was totally broken, man, and not fun. And I understand why Bluepoint didn't redo it completely, because they're like, look, we promise not to redo any aspects of this game except for, like, from a visual perspective. And I get that, but man, that was the only actual like really weak point of that game where I'm like, okay, you could tell From Software dropped the ball on this one here, but generally speaking though, the game was pretty challenging. Yeah, I struggled with it a little bit. Demon Souls is easier than Dark Souls. I mean, maybe it's certain parts, yeah. Like, I mean, I don't recall there being a boss that pretty much checks you. Maybe there, again, it's been a while. I have to replay it again to remember all the bosses. But when I think of like Dark Souls, there's like, every time I'm on the spot, names just completely elude me. But it's like the Smog and what's the other boss's name? I'm sorry I have to rely on my chat so much for this. You think I would know? You know who I'm talking about. Ornstein. Okay, there we go. Ornstein and Smog. Yeah, dude, I don't recall in Demon Souls there being like just a mid-check boss, like a midpoint boss that just totally checks you, where it's like, listen, if you can overcome us, you'll complete the game. If you can't, you're not getting through the rest of this game. I don't recall something like that in Demon Souls. Maybe that was the Dragon God. Orange, yeah, thank you. I don't know how I forgot that. Ornstein and Smog. Man, that boss battle was ridiculous. Why does my coffee taste like Dr. Pepper? That's very interesting. Stellar Blade Page tweeted the game has gone gold. Good stuff. The timing is right, yeah. We have figuratively literal here with a super chat. Thank you for that, man. You're saying Eco is a reference to Jack, yet they released The Lost Frontier, basically the Metal Gear Solid Survive of the series, not Daxter, the Peace Walker of the series. Hold on, I'm trying. So Eco is a reference to Jack, yet they released The Lost Frontier. Hold on. Jack and Daxter, The Lost Frontier. I'm trying to understand your super chat. Okay. Wait, hold on. Who made Eco though? That's figuratively literal. I'm going to be honest with you, man. I'm not fully understanding the super chat. Somebody explain this to me. Figuratively literal, you're going to have to elaborate here, man. You're talking about the PlayStation classics. My PC's fan is like going crazy right now. You use the tweet as a jumping off point. Okay. Yeah, sorry if I'm not fully putting it together here. I feel bad because I know sometimes it can be hard to fully properly communicate what it is you're trying to get across in a super chat. I know it's limited, like depending on how much you pay for the super chat, they limit. Eco is a reference to Jack, yet they released The Lost Frontier, basically Metal Gear. Man, Metal Gear Survive. I feel like this is the first time I've heard somebody mention Metal Gear Survive in like years, dude. I actually completely forgot that game existed. Not Daxter, the Peace Walker. Peace Walker was good. Perfect Image, you're saying it's fascinating Ghost and Rise are using proprietary engines. Well, I know Ghost of Tsushima uses a proprietary engine, but I'm pretty sure Rise of the Ronin is not. If I'm not mistaken, Perfect Image, I think Rise of the Ronin uses Unreal Engine 4. Right? Wait, are they not using Unreal Engine 4? Hold on now. Proprietary license. Guys, tell me I'm not. Really? It is proprietary. That's actually. I came across this post on the Rise of the Ronin Reddit. The graphics of Rise of the Ronin. I love Team Ninja's games, especially Neo 2, but I think it's high time for them to update their engine because Rise of the Ronin looks outdated. I'm trying to see if anybody mentions. That's interesting to me if it's true that they're using a proprietary engine. I thought for some reason that they were just using Unreal Engine 4. A lot of you guys are saying it is their own engine. Team Ninja never used Unreal before. Oh, well, I wonder why I thought that then. Okay. Yeah, that is very interesting that they're both. That actually makes me a little bit more curious about the graphics of Rise of the Ronin, where it's like, bro, if it's a a proprietary engine, I feel like you should be able to squeeze more out of it. But I guess if it's not like fully updated, you know, like if they didn't make any major changes to it or major updates, I could see how maybe it just starts to get a little bit left behind. They should, dude. They should. That actually makes me a little bit sad that they didn't make a new engine for Rise of the Ronin, because you can see the potential, like the graphical potential in this game. You're saying they use the same engine for Neo 2. That makes sense. Fred, you're saying it seems that more grounded studios are trying to build engines for their games. You know what's fascinating? Again, the conversations we've been having recently about Unreal Engine 5. A lot of people have said to me recently, again, not to bring it into the conversation unnecessarily, but just talking about engines for just a minute. We'll go right back to the PlayStation showcase. But, a lot of people telling me that, listen, if Hellblade 2 comes to PS5, it's going to also be at 30 FPS because it's Unreal Engine 5. Unreal Engine 5 is going to struggle when it's being really tapped into graphically to run at 60 FPS on any of these consoles. And it's interesting because when you look at PlayStation and you look at all of their games and you look at all of their studios, it seems that Sony, they kind of had this proprietary focus where most of their engines, if not all of the engines that their studios and even most of their partner studios use, are proprietary. And this is what has allowed them seemingly to be able to get these very, very, very good looking games that can also, I think it was Chris Brown who mentioned earlier, like these games can look this good and they can hit 30, 40, 60, 120 FPS. It's due to the proprietary nature of this. And I do wonder if it's not even a wonder, but you have to imagine that Sony is like, damn, we made the right choice here. Because could you imagine if Sony was at the mercy of Unreal Engine 5? Like if Sony didn't really invest in their own proprietary stuff as much as they should have, they would probably be thinking like, damn, okay, we have to use Unreal Engine 5 because that's really the only engine that makes sense right now to use. But Unreal Engine 5 would not be fully optimized for the PS5 in the same way that a proprietary engine would. It just couldn't be. Yeah, it's really interesting to think. Game engines, it's a complicated thing. It's a complicated thing. CJ, you're saying Unreal Engine 5 is not really a savior like some claim. It's beginning to look that way, to be honest. Maybe that will change, but I feel like Unreal Engine 5 is one of two things. It either it's just too soon, like they did too much with the engine before everything could catch up with it, or if it's not that, there's just something fundamentally wrong with it. Jakey Steer saying it's a mess. Yeah, that's what's weird to me about it is I thought Unreal Engine was my view of Unreal Engine 5 is I remember hearing it talked about so much at the beginning of this generation. And it was and I remember Sony even partnered with Epic for this, and they really made it sound like not just Sony and Epic Games, but everybody yeah, dude, this is it, man. This is the engine. And seeing the results now, it's people are saying dude, you can only get 60 FPS in Unreal Engine 5 games with the game running at an internal resolution of 720p or 900p or something. And I'm like, this is crazy. Hanzo, you're saying Gear 6 though? Oh yeah, that's true. Gear 6 will use Unreal Engine 5. It's so interesting, dude. Didn't Epic Games, they used to own Gears, right? So I imagine that game will probably push the engine. Chris Brown, you're saying Redfall uses Unreal Engine 5 and was stuck at 30 FPS. Wait, did it? I didn't know that either, if that's true. I mean, I knew that Redfall was at 30, but I didn't realize it was on Unreal Engine 5. Damn, dude, that's oof. Irfan, you're saying Redfall is Unreal Engine 4, but it looks and runs like Unreal Engine 2. Damn, brutal, Irfan. You know, it makes me wonder. Hold on, are there any studios underneath Sony that are using Unreal Engine 5? MBG remains consistent with Epic's presentation. Remember, all of Epic's demos were 1440p, 1200p, 30 FPS. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, at that time, I think we were just so impressed with everything that was going on screen. We didn't really care too much about the frame rate. And I remember like that Matrix Awakens demo, same thing. Bend Studio. So I just looked up Bend Studio. Man, what? I'm like starting to get afraid that my PC's like overheating. Like the fan is like cranked on at like full speed and it like hasn't stopped. Sorry about that. I guess it'll be okay. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. It's called the Katana engine. Oh wow, that's actually an awesome name for an engine. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to dust out my PC soon. It's been a while. It should be okay though. But I looked up Sony Bend engine, and there was like a rumor a couple of years ago that their new project is actually using Decima engine, but I don't think that was ever confirmed. I don't think we have confirmation that they're using Unreal Engine 5. Let me look it up. Yeah, there isn't like a direct confirmation of that. That'd be very dude. If Sony Bend ends up using if they end up using Unreal Engine 5, that would be very interesting. But I would imagine they yeah, I could see them using Decima. By the way, I forgot to give boss his snacks. We're sitting at 28 members. I forgot to do this. I'm sorry, boss. What the hell is wrong with this? There you go. Enjoy, boss. That's thanks to this community, as always. They look out for you, boss. Don't worry. They make sure you get your snacks. Perfect image again. You're saying MBG. You and I are thinking the same thing about engines on with at 60 FPS. Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, man. It would be strange to me if Sony look. I'm not saying it would be a good idea for Sony to mandate their studios like you need to use our in-house engines. Like you have to use Decima. I don't think it would be good to mandate that, but Sony should definitely try to push, if it makes sense, for their studios to use their own proprietary engines or Decima. Because, yeah, I don't know if it's true that games are really struggling to hit 60 FPS on Unreal Engine 5 on these consoles. Sony would be better off just, going down that route and sticking to what they've been doing. That's my opinion anyway. Lore Cannon, you're saying Decima is the best engine for 60 FPS this gen? I wouldn't be surprised if that turns out to be true. Decima engine is a beast. We have Josh saying, do you think that Project 007 game is canceled? Who is making that? Isn't that like, wasn't that the team that made, wasn't that like IO Interactive? Probably not. No, if there was a full-blown 007 game, unless this is a project that's what I was thinking. The IO Interactive, they made Hitman. I'm sure it's probably not canceled. I'm sure it's still in development. That's my guess on it anyway. But getting back to the showcase topic, I got one more studio that I want to bring up here. And again, I know it's not the most exciting because we've been talking about it for a while, and actually we just kind of brought it up. But there's just one more studio. There's just one more studio that I want to absolutely see at the next PlayStation showcase. Chris, you're saying I have a confession. I spent $650 on an SX at launch. I don't know why I read it like that. Well, I guess I read it like that because you're saying it's a confession. Damn, dude, $650 on a Series X at launch. Not even $500. Bruh. No, it's all good, man. It's all good. My question is, how do you feel about that now? That's the question, Chris. How do you feel about that now? Do you regret it? Do you feel bad about it? If you could go back in time, would you undo it? Here's another question, another follow-up question. Did you choose the Series X over the PS5? Now that would be upsetting. If you paid $650 for Series X over the PS5, oh man. Bro, no. Titus Crow says, Chris Brown, you are a bad person and you should feel bad. That's crazy. Yeah, I forgot, dude, that the Series X was also being scalped for a little while there. Chris, you're saying in 100% honesty, I still think it was worth it. And no, I already have a PS5. I already had a PS5 pre-order. Damn. Okay. Well, hey, Chris, that's all that matters, bro. Jokes aside, if you bought both consoles at launch and you're happy with them, that's all that matters. But you should repent. You should. In order to fully embrace Totokism, formerly known as Rhintology, you must sell that Xbox Series X. But it's okay, man. We still accept you here. All right, so the last studio, guys. Again, I'm trying to keep this list tame. I'm trying to keep it. I'm trying to my best to keep it from becoming too unrealistic. But the last studio that I absolutely want to see at the next PlayStation showcase is Sony Bend. And the reason for this is because I was thinking, like, do I want to see... I feel like I can only choose one. Do I want to see Sony Bend and their new game, or do I want to see Sony Santa Monica and their new game? And I've decided that if I had to choose which one I can end up seeing first, I want to see Sony Bend's new game first, because I really now need to know if I'm going to be excited for their game. IP Gaming, why are you spamming that, bro? You don't have to spam it. We see it. Oh, you're saying Series X was scalped for 2 weeks? Damn. IP Gaming really needed to make sure I saw that. It's all good, man. But I really need to see Sony Bend's next game because I need to know, dude. I need to know if this is a game I'm going to be excited to play or not. And the reason why I need to know is because we recently found out that Sony Bend's new game is a live service title. And I feel like that has altered my feelings on it. At least, I mean, we don't know what it is, but it definitely changed how I am feeling about it. Where now I'm a little bit more nervous that it might be a game I'm not interested in. I wasn't expecting a full live service game from Sony Bend as their follow up to Days Gone, and so I'm more comfortable waiting to see Santa Monica's new game, and I want to see Bend Studios' new game first because I gotta know. So, just as a recap, PlayStation Showcase Part 2. Again, studios and games that I absolutely want to see at the next showcase. I have no idea if they'll be there. I don't know if they're likely to be there or if they're unlikely, but just MBG's list of PlayStation studios I want to hear from in the next month or two. Sucker Punch, Ghost of Tsushima, Naughty Dog, new IP, Team Asobi, new Astro game, Blue Point with a surprise, whether it be Uncharted or something else, and Sony Bend. And that's it. Man. Every other studio that PlayStation has, I obviously welcome them with open arms, very much so. I'm excited to hear from any PlayStation studio at the showcase when we get one. But if I was able to choose, like handpick which ones I want to see there, those are the ones for 2024. Sony Bend and Socom. No, it's not. It's a new IP, bro. Hey. Oh, you guys seen this? Look. Hey. Boss, what are you doing? Do you guys see him right now? Look at how majestic he looks. He blends in with the TV, bro. Boss, what are you doing? Get down. You can stay. It's okay. You don't have to get down. You can stay. He's behaving so strangely, man. He never goes over there. I think he's trying to tell you guys something. Let's see if he knocks my glasses off. Sorry, I just was a little... Look at him. Plotting back there. He thinks I can't see him. With my back turned. He's listening to me. He is. Ragu Bagu. You're saying with the super chat here, if there was one game in the future that you can play, then retire from gaming, what would that game be? It's a good question. So you're saying I get the chance to play one game from the future, but after that I retire from gaming and I never play anything else again? That's a good question. I mean, there's one game that immediately pops into my head that maybe is a little bit I don't think it's unexpected, but maybe it's not the first game that you would think I would say, but I think it has to be GTA 6, dude. Yeah, I think I see a lot of people saying GTA 10. Yeah. Yes, not GTA 6, GTA 10. You said any future game? Yeah, GTA 10, bro. No, it would, in all seriousness, it would be actually damn. You know what? Hold on. Okay, it's kind of a tie here. It's a tie, actually. It's a tie. The first one that comes to mind is GTA 6. Because that's the one that's like most obvious right now. But Fizzin', yeah, dude. I didn't think of that. Oh, that one. Yeah. I think it would have to be Fizzin'. Whatever that turns out to be. I don't think that's what the actual name of the game is going to be. Kojima's next-gen PlayStation 6 spiritual successor to Metal Gear Solid. Oh my god. Yeah, I think I have to choose that for sure. It would be tough because I'm so curious about GTA 6 though. Starfield 2. Dude, why does my coffee taste like that? My coffee legitimately tastes like Dr. Pepper. It's not that I like Dr. Pepper. It doesn't taste bad. What's going on, though? Boss, what'd you do to my coffee? Knack 5. Yeah, in Knack 5, you actually play as Mark Cerny. Mark Cerny is the new main character. Maybe I heat up Dr. Pepper. Oh, you know what I think? You know what I think it might be? I think we made vanilla coffee recently in the coffee pot, and then I'm having my regular coffee. Maybe it has a little mix because I have creamer in there. Yeah, I think that's what caused it. Oh damn, Chris, you went there, huh? Lure Cannon says Redfall 2. Redfall 2. Could you imagine if Redfall does get a sequel? By the way, guys, hit that like button. We're sitting at 207 likes. Let's see if we can get to 225 likes. I'd really appreciate that. Crazy old school, you're saying for you would be the next Gears game? Knack and Daxter. Fred, you're saying, MBG, I don't know why, but I still want to know if Capcom is allowing Pragmata to be developed. I think it's still in development, yeah. I will say, though, it seems like it might be having some problems. The fact that, like, we haven't seen or heard from it in a long time. But, yeah, I think it's still in development. But, Ragu Bagu, thank you for the super chat, man. Definitely a little bit different. All right, so before we move on, I see a lot of Crackdown 4s in there. It seems like there's a tie here between Knack 3 and Crackdown 4. We'll see which one wins out in the end. You know, one of those games is getting made. That's the funny thing is Knack 3 is going to get made or Crackdown 4 is going to get made. I don't think both will get made. I think that would cause some kind of singularity event and possibly just end the universe. But one of those games will get made. Boss Simulator. All right. We're going to move on to the next topic here, guys. And before I do that, again, hit that like button. We're sitting at 28 members. Let me see. So we're still a little bit of ways from hitting a second goal, but just as a little bit of encouragement for you guys, mainly because I'm being selfish here and I want to do some reps. I want an excuse to do some reps, bro. If we hit 50, we'll get in some sets and some reps at the end of the stream. But it's getting a little bit hot in here. I'm about to see if I can open this window over here. I don't know, though. I've never opened this window in front of me, and I'm afraid of what boss might do. Hold on. I might just try it. Give me a second. Boss is very happy. Dude, it's getting hot in here. That's the thing. Like, it's really nice out today, and the temperature's rising. So I opened up the other window, which I never open. Okay. So the next topic in line here is once again about Microsoft embracing the PlayStation console. This is a report from PlayStation Lifestyle. And they say here, Boss, please don't fall out the window, dude. They say here, it looks like an unannounced ZeniMax online game studio is among the Xbox games headed to PlayStation in the future. A fan discovered the LinkedIn profile of a former ZeniMax online veteran who mentioned working on a new engine for an unannounced project and bringing that engine to, quote, third-party consoles, end quote. The profile in question was spotted by ex-user Zubitech and belongs to former ZeniMax Online Studio senior gameplay programmer Ryan Ruzick. The unannounced project seems to be the last thing Ruzick was working on for the company prior to his departure in November of 2022. The profile is still up at the time of this writing, and we can confirm that the screenshot is legitimate. However, there's little else to go off of. So, yeah, I just wanted to I feel like I have to bring this up because it's like, guys, there is a... I know there's been like this kind of conversation lingering around Microsoft and their decision to bring 4 of their games to PlayStation 5. And that conversation is, oh, well, you know, it's just going to be those 4, or it's just going to be a select few games or whatever, or just like older games. But I feel like as the weeks go by, there's just more and more mounting evidence that suggests quite the opposite. There's more and more evidence that like heavily suggests that no, dude, they're, you know, I'm not using the term egregiously because I know people use it in like a fanboyish way, and I'm not trying to use it in a fanboyish way, but it's like, it's seeming like it's the whole slate, dude. Like, not necessarily at this exact moment, but the plan is the whole slate, including future titles. Because what we are looking at here, again, this is a new game engine that is specifically being built with the PlayStation 5 and third-party consoles in mind. Now, it is ZeniMax, you know, it is Bethesda, so I don't know, man. The real question I have when it comes to this whole situation with Microsoft games making their way to PlayStation, I want to know if there's if Microsoft has if they view Bethesda very differently than their own like first party internal studios, if that makes sense. I mean, I know Bethesda's you get what I'm saying? Bethesda's a first party, you know, unit underneath Microsoft, but like, I'm wondering, does Microsoft view id Software and the next Doom game differently than they view the next Gears of War game? To where maybe Microsoft is more willing to just say, yeah, you know what? Go ahead, make the next Doom fully multi-plat, release it same day on PS5 potentially in the future. But the next Gears, we're not thinking about that right now. We're thinking... Yeah, and that's very true. That's very true, Antonio. You're saying MBG, ZeniMax Online makes MMOs, though. If it's an MMO, and if Sea of Thieves and Grounded are coming, they're live service games. Yeah, that's true, too. Yeah, and that's important. It's a very important consideration that I don't want to overlook. That it does seem like, at the very least, what this does confirm is that any future live service game from Bethesda, but maybe all of Microsoft, potentially any future live service Xbox game will also release on PlayStation 5. I think that would be a pretty key takeaway from everything we're seeing here. Titus Crow, you're saying, I almost guarantee everything from Microsoft will be multi-platform day one. You know what's something I forgot to talk to you guys about, and this is actually very important. I actually completely forgot to mention this. It was either in my last stream or the one before, but there was that internal shakeup that just recently happened with Xbox and Microsoft, and one of the Xbox veterans who was there for like 27 years left. I mean, maybe he got fired, but he left the company. And the person who replaced him, I forget her name, but she's the head of OEM operations for Windows. And this is actually like I completely overlooked the importance and the significance of this. And when I looked into it, basically, for those who don't know, the head of OEM operations for Windows essentially works with third-party companies like Dell and Asus and Acer, etc. They work with all these companies to be able to get the Windows software onto their own hardware that they're producing. This is who's going to be in charge of the Xbox hardware or the Xbox side of things. And people, like, there seems to be a very, very heavy implication that Microsoft is going to start allowing third parties to make their own Xboxes. And I'm trying to I don't know that I have fully grasped what that means exactly for the future of the Xbox console or consoles in general. But that is quite wild if that's actually what happens. I'm trying to think of like who would make an Xbox console. Who would is this the Steam? Yeah, actually good point. That sounds like the Steam box. Fabrice, you're saying it's false. Well, I don't think it's false. Well, to be clear, I don't think it's necessarily a rumor. It is a fact that the person in charge of Microsoft's OEM efforts with Windows, they are taking over. They're taking over the spot that Kareem Khandri, I guess, what he did. It doesn't mean that that's what they're going to do, but there is, I think, this implication that might be what they go and do. And are we going to see PlayStation make an Xbox, bro? Is that what we're going to see? Yeah, dude, could this be disastrous though for the console space? Like that, to me, that's the question. If they were to try to do something like that, because Fred, you're saying MBG, if devs already dislike the current Xbox ecosystem, then imagine how more they would detest the brand. I mean, I'm trying to think of like how could that benefit Xbox by basically saying you can license out the entire ecosystem to put on your own console. I'm trying to think who would do that. Xbox is working on an Xbox operating system. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what the end game is here when it comes to console hardware. Like, I feel like with PlayStation, the conversation, it's not less interesting. It's just much more simplified. Like, we know what PlayStation's end game is. PlayStation's end game is we have new generations of console and we just want you to buy it. And that's it. And it doesn't really go that much and then we put some games on PC over time. And that's basically it. Like, that's generally it. Like, will that change over time? I think it will. Yeah, mobile might start to become a bigger part of that conversation. But with Xbox, it just seems like so many different things are happening. You're saying the 3DO had multiple manufacturers. Oh my God, the 3DO. The 3DO, bro. I'm trying to understand what it ultimately is that Microsoft is trying to achieve here by doing specifically, like, I know what they're trying to achieve ultimately, which is more money, more revenue, and hopefully a dominant position in a major part of the gaming industry, like a very dominant position, even if that's in publishing. I understand that, but I'm trying to understand what their plan is for console hardware. Because they seem to be a little bit all over the place. And I think what Fred said is very much true, is that, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know that. I don't know what it is that Microsoft would have to do to make developers more happy and feel like better about developing on the platform. Because I feel like PlayStation, that's all Sony seems to be focused on. That's all they seem to be focused on with the PS4. with the PS4 Pro, with the PS5, and now with the PS5 Pro. And you know the same is going to be true for the PlayStation 6. And it's just like, I almost just start to wonder if like Microsoft's just kind of losing the plot here a little bit. It's like, Microsoft, your main goal should be to make, you should just have one console and just make it as good as you can with an affordable price point and make it as easy to develop for as possible. I feel like that's all they really should do. And I get this feeling that they're getting ready to do something very complicated, messy, potentially. Maybe not. But again, it's just the fact that this is the person that they appointed to take over. Yeah, I agree, Fred. We did learn with, we definitely learned with the Steam boxes that you can't just check off every box, so to speak. You know what I mean? You can't just say we got a $200 console, we got a $300 console, we got a $400 console, we got a $500, $600, $700, $800, and we go all the way up to like $1,800 consoles here. You can't really do that because, dude, it's just too much, and the entire market's just gonna look at that and be like, I don't even know what any of that is. I'm just gonna buy a PlayStation or an Xbox or a Switch, you know. Rumor is Xbox internally were disappointed with Windows bloat, so they've been working on an Xbox operating system designed for gaming alone. Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. Microsoft is apparently making handheld as well. Yeah, I don't know, dude. If they go in that direction, though, if Microsoft allows, if they make like some kind of like Xbox operating system or something, and they allow it to be used on like any hardware, I don't know. It's hard to tell, truthfully, like what direction they're going in here. MBG, they want 10-cent money by being a major publisher with a foot in the hardware, a foot in mobile storefront, a hand in a PC storefront, and another hand in exclusivity. ABK changed everything. Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think that's a pretty good evaluation. I mean, I think Sony ultimately wants the same thing as well, but I think Sony still is operating in a more traditional way where like Sony wants it to be more self-contained. Although I will say this, I don't know that Sony's trying to be like, I don't know that Sony is focused on trying to be like one of the biggest, I mean, well, they are one of the biggest publishers in the world, but you know what I mean? Like in terms of just sheer scale, like we got like 45 studios or 38 studios or something, and all these different, we got like 7 games releasing a year from our own studios. I don't think Sony's trying to scale up in that sense. But yeah, getting back to the original topic at hand here, confirmation at the very least that future Bethesda live service games are targeting the PlayStation 5. And this could very well be true for all of Xbox's future live service games. And yeah, as time goes on, we just keep seeing more things kind of pop up that are pointing that, in this is the direction Microsoft's going in. And yeah. We have Lure Cannon here with a super chat. Lure Cannon says PC Windows games will be compatible to Xbox, the Xbox operating system, so devs don't need to optimize. So it would be a PC, but as a console experience with upgradable GPUs, I would buy it. Yeah, that. I mean, I get. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I guess at that point, the question would be, how many different like SKUs would there be? How many different pieces of hardware would there be? Because I don't know, man. You're saying without the need to optimize, but that's the thing. Is I feel like Lore Cannon, what you're kind of pointing out here is that, like, even if that did work, like in theory, right? This is what Microsoft's going to do, an Xbox operating system. It sounds too much like PC, dude. Like, to be honest, that sounds way too similar to PC, where it's almost like, wait, what was the point here? Like there might not be as many configurations. Like because I kind of get what you're saying. It's basically like let's downscale. Basically an in between console and PC, where it's like it's not. Yeah, like it's not a traditional console necessarily, where it's just one SKU, right? Because if you think about it, like Microsoft kind of already did this a little bit with the Series S, where it's like here's two pieces of hardware to optimize for. And devs are already kind of like, I don't know about that one. Yeah, I mean, basically what you're describing to me sounds like PC Junior in a way. Where it's like different pieces of hardware, maybe just like 2 or 3 different GPUs, or 4 maybe at most that you could choose from that you could upgrade if you want. But there would still need to be optimization. Like, I think that's the point. That's the point. In the same way that devs need to take into account all the different configurations, all the different possible configurations of PC because of how many PC components are out there and how many different configurations there could be, right? This sounds like it would still basically lead to that, just in a smaller scale, on a smaller scale. But why I don't think that will ever happen, or why to me that doesn't make sense, is again because, dude, Microsoft is already doing that on a very small scale. They literally have one extra console, the Series S, one extra console, and devs are like, we don't want to bother. So I think the idea of like saturating that even further, I think that runs the risk of actually just pushing people like devs even further away. I'm telling you, dude, this is just another area where I think Microsoft needs to follow Sony and Nintendo. There's a reason why the traditional model works, and it's because simplicity in this case, I think, is key. What Xbox should do with their next generation consoles, the same thing Sony's going to do, and that is, well, I assume this is what Sony's going to do. Pretty sure it's what Nintendo's doing. Just one console. Just one console. Make it, again, as powerful as you can. Give it the best bang for your buck. And just let devs worry about that. Oh my God. Okay. I need to add more water to that next time. It's a lot of salt, dude. Oh. All right. Well, that'll wake you up. And Lure Cannon, you have a little follow-up here. And it's your 5th time super chatting. I appreciate that, buddy. You're saying, like, Steam Deck, it has Linux in the background. Again, like, it's anybody's guess what Microsoft is truly going to do, with hardware in the future. But if I had to guess, I'm thinking they're not going to go in this direction, because to be completely honest, if Microsoft goes in this direction, I think they're going to kill the Xbox ecosystem. Like, I don't know if that's if they're going to, maybe they could thread a certain needle there, but I think they would kill the Xbox ecosystem. I think it's the last thing it needs. But who knows what Microsoft's plans are, dude. Saying SteamOS is basically Linux, so Xbox OS is basically Windows. No, I get what you're saying. I know that. I get what you're saying. And I could see Microsoft experimenting because of this, but I'm not sold on it. I'm not sold on it. All right. We got Fabrice Paul with a super chat. Thank you for that, man. You're saying, I knew this MMORPG was coming to PS5 since last year. It's been worked on for more than 7 years. Xbox won't stop this money machine. ESO made $2 billion. Has it been... Wait, are you saying that the game that was referenced in this job listing has been in development for 7 years? Holy shit. What game is this? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the game is. Crazy Old School says, y'all stop. Phil actually saved Xbox. Well, he did. I look, I know I go on my tangents and my rants, and I know a lot of people here don't like Phil Spencer, but the absolute truth, like, and this is just a fact, that if If Phil Spencer didn't come up with the idea of Game Pass, they like Microsoft literally would have shut down the Xbox division or sold it off. I don't know. I'm sure there are some people who are like, maybe that would have been for the best, but it is true that like if Phil didn't come up with that idea, they definitely would have shut Xbox down. Xbox was not looking good, bro. It was not looking good. I'm not saying that I'm a fan necessarily of like where they are now, but yeah, man, it's just there. I'll put it to you this way: there is a reason why Microsoft and Sony are going in such different directions. Well, maybe not completely different directions, but they're both kind of walking a similar path, but there's just very different things along those paths that they're walking on, and because there's no denying that Sony is taking a couple of pages from Microsoft's book, but Microsoft is also taking quite a few different pages from Sony's book. And I guess there's just kind of this, there's still this separating factor, though, where it's like they're still doing things so differently in some areas. That's like, who's doing it right here? Did Phil save it or just delay its inevitability, its inevitable end? Well, you know what? Hold on. See, this is where things get kind of complicated, though, because Xbox would have been shut down in 2016 or 17 if Phil didn't come up with the. You know what? I mean, you might be right. Like, I don't think the end is appropriate, though, because, like, I think what Phil did was he delayed the inevitability of Microsoft's going to become more of a publisher first than anything else. I think that everything that occurred during the Xbox One generation was kind of leading, like showing signs of leading to that. And I think Game Pass was kind of like this last ditch, like, this is what is going to stop us from having to go in that direction and to stray too far away from the traditional way of doing things. But then once the realization kicked in that like, oh shit, well, in order for Game Pass to work, we're going to need a lot more games. So then you buy publishers and then you buy, like you're saying, Activision Blizzard. And I think once Activision Blizzard is purchased, it's like, yeah, I think at that point it's like, okay, maybe this is the direction they were always meant to go in, for better or for worse. But it's interesting because like people, there's a lot of conversations about like the business side of it, right? And there's this heavy focus on revenue, like who's the revenue leader, who's making the most amount of money. And I understand that is certainly relevant to the conversation, but I don't know, man. I think there has to be a little bit more to it than that, where I'm not on board with the idea of just completely leapfrogging not leapfrogging, but just walking, like practically just walking away from the way things have always been done or the way that they've been done up until this point, and just dramatically like changing something overnight. Because I don't know, man. I look at the games industry and I think, man, this industry has proven time and time again, like just how volatile it can be. Where, when you first see something, you think, wow, what a great idea. And then it's put into practice. And then years later, it's like, oh, wow, that was actually really not good. Like that was not the way. And I'm just not entirely sure that, like, I'll just say this. I think it's okay if from this point forward, I don't know that it'll be permanent because nothing's permanent, but for many years to come, I think it's okay if Sony and Microsoft do things vastly differently and they both have their own reasons for doing so. And I think where we ultimately are going to end up, I think we're actually very close to being there, is the conversations of the more competitive conversations that exist between Sony and Microsoft. I think they're already fading away, but I think in the next like 5 years, it's going to be gone. Like there's not going to be conversation anymore about, oh, like how is Xbox and gonna take on Sony? Is how's Sony gonna take on Xbox? How are they gonna like? Are they gonna go head to head? I do think we're gonna look back and we're gonna realize that the launch of the PS5 and the Xbox Series X was the last time that was actually gonna like that occurred in an actual meaningful way, because everything now going forward is talked about under the notion and the understanding of, like, for PlayStation, well, the games are probably going to go to PC at some point. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, well, okay, that inherently changes the competitive conversation right there, or any conversation surrounding the competitive side of it. It just changes it. It alters it. It does. But the same can be said for Microsoft, where it's like, oh, well, now Microsoft, they're not really concerned at all about their hardware, because they're starting to put their games on other competing consoles and everything's changing. And I think all of this just basically points to again, both Microsoft and Sony doing things so differently than they ever had before. But that's the thing, is like they're both doing things differently, but they're both as they're doing these different things, they're still going in opposing directions, seemingly, to a certain extent. And the only question I have at this point, I always have questions, and I still will. And let me rephrase that. It's not the only question I have. I still have many questions, but I think the biggest question looming in my mind right now is simply, it doesn't pertain to Sony necessarily, because I feel like with Sony, I have an answer. Maybe I don't. Maybe I'll find out I'm wrong. But like, when I think of Sony, I'm not sitting here wondering, like, are they going to make a next gen console? Are they going to care very much about that next gen console? I feel like these questions are already obviously yes. Like, the answer is very obviously yes to these questions. But I feel like for Microsoft, the answers for those questions are not at all obvious. Like, are they going to make an next gen console? Yes, they are, because they confirmed that. Outside of that, nothing is obvious. How good is this console going to be? How relevant is this console going to be? How much is Microsoft going to care about this console? What is the role that this console is going to play next generation? Is this console truly going to compete with the PlayStation 6? I mean, really? Or is it going to play out very differently, and we're going to find out? I just want to know how Microsoft truly views the console. Because I feel like they say these things, like, we're committed, and we're going to have the biggest technical leap, and that's fine. But it's just I just don't know, something about your approach to the console going forward feels very, I don't want to say disingenuous, but there's something here missing, or you're not acknowledging the obvious fact. You know what I'm saying? I think that's kind of what it is Microsoft is not acknowledging, you do realize, you're probably killing off your console faster than anything else or anybody else by you know what I mean? And I just want to, surely they know that, right? And I guess, I don't know. I'm asking for Microsoft to do something they'll never do, which is be completely candid and brutally honest. They're not going to do that. But I feel like it is obvious that it's just not going to be the same anymore. It's just not going to be the same anymore in the console space in the coming generations. I think we will see Sony stick to a lot of traditional things. I think we will see Microsoft not stick to anything traditional. And I think because of that, essentially the competition between Sony and Microsoft in the hardware space is going to come to an end. And I don't know how I feel about that. Antonio Lopes with 2 super chats, saying most hardware phones too in 5 to 10 years will hit native 4K 60 FPS solid. Where do you realistically go from there? Ray tracing, 120 plus FPS, that's PCMR territory. If consoles go there, might as well go PC Junior. I see what you're saying. Yeah, that's a good question, Antonio. I don't See, this is where I feel like that's truly uncharted territory, where none of us, including Sony and Microsoft, know what console generations look like when you reach this like true upper limit of like, all right, yeah, we don't. I like think of like the PlayStation 7, right? Because it's a good question. Like, what exactly does a PlayStation 7 look like? I feel like we have a good idea of what a PlayStation 6 looks like, where PlayStation 6 is going to be just pushing photorealism graphics and like we already saw. Like Sony one day believes we're going to hit 8K 60 FPS, 4K 120 FPS. This is what Sony's moving towards in the long-term future. And that to me is like, okay, you're talking about like a PlayStation 6 Pro at that point. But what's after that? Like, I mean, like, yeah, where do you go after that? And you have to wonder, like, you do have to question, like, what will that mean for the relevance of consoles? And yeah, you are mentioning how like phones are becoming more and more powerful. And I guess what it ultimately points to is the console space becoming more and more niche. And I don't know. Again, I don't know if I agree with the whole like PC Junior situation, but I don't. I mean, maybe that is exactly where it needs to go in the long run. If not that, if it doesn't go in that direction in the long run, then I think what will ultimately happen is Sony. And I guess Microsoft as well, but I'm thinking mostly with Sony here. Sony will just have to come out and be like, guys, listen, going forward, PlayStation consoles are going to release more frequently, and they're going to be extremely iterative. Like just very like like they are going to turn into smartphones, essentially. Like where in the same way that smartphones do have upgrades every year. Like there's a new smartphone, but it's like, but what really changed? It's like, well, not really anything. It's like a very minimal iterative upgrade. I think that's what consoles might turn into. Not that I necessarily see a future where there's a new PlayStation console every year, maybe every like 3 years or something. Well, actually, shit, who am I kidding? We're already kind of there with the PS5 Pro and the PS4 Pro. So actually, let me take that back. Yeah, I could see it. I could see that happening maybe. Where, think about it. It's like if we can't really grow the console market anymore because the younger generation just isn't interested in consoles, but there's still many generations of people that still, like myself, do like consoles, then let's just release a new iterative console every year. And okay, yeah, there you go. Yeah, I think you're fucking right. Yeah. Shit, man, we came full circle. I'm literally describing PC Junior. That is PC Junior. That's no different than new graphics cards releasing every year. Mind blown, bro. We did it. We figured it out. This is the future. This is what's happening. The future of consoles to become PC Junior with yearly iterative console upgrades. Just like graphics cards, just like smartphones. And that is the way console hardware will remain relevant. See, that's a question I have for you guys, though. Because I feel like we're entering interesting territory here. I think this stuff sounds actually pretty plausible. My question to you is, does that, if Sony and Microsoft, and maybe even the future Nintendo, but I'm going to just stick with Sony and Microsoft here. If, let's say after the PlayStation 6 and after the next gen Xbox, things really change where it's like, okay, wow, fuck, I don't know. I could still see the PlayStation 7. Excuse me. I could still see the PlayStation 7 being like a traditional console generation. Okay, let me get down to it here. My question is, if consoles begin to really lose momentum, right? And what I mean is like by the middle of the PlayStation 6 generation or the tail end of the PlayStation 6 generation, if by that time it's very clear, we look at the sales charts, we see the data, it's like this is starting to really decline. No amount of games is changing that. No amount of exclusives is changing. Like, it's just people are starting to walk away from the console. And I mean, you have to imagine if they're walking away from the console, that means they're going somewhere else. And maybe that's exactly what you're talking about. Like, maybe they're going to their smartphones or whatever. Do you think if Sony and Microsoft at that point, I'll just stick with Sony here. If Sony was like, okay, starting with the PlayStation 7, we're going to release like a new version of like we're not going to call it the PlayStation 7. Or I guess we could. We'll call it, let's say in the year fucking 2034 or 5 or 6. We're talking, you know, like over a decade from now. No, hold on. Yeah. No, like 2037. Jesus. Bear with me here. Let's like say in the year 2037. That's a long time from now. A lot could fucking change. A lot is going to change. Let's say in the year 2037, it's the end of the PlayStation 6 generation. Sony's getting ready to announce the PlayStation 7. Okay? And Sony makes it clear when they announce the PlayStation 7 that, you know, this is going to be a different console generation because things are just different now. And starting from the year 2037, every year we get a new PlayStation. 2038, here's the PlayStation 8. 2039, here's the PlayStation 9. 2040, here's the PlayStation 10. Just like a smartphone. Like, could you see Sony doing that? And then the question at that point would be, would it work? Would that keep the people who are still buying consoles, would they buy into that? It's like, hey, well, I buy a new smartphone every year. There's a bunch of shit people upgrade to on an almost yearly basis. You're saying that would be suicide? You think it would be dumb? Well, hold on. That's interesting. You're saying that's ridiculous or that sounds dumb. My question is though, because I agree, like, again, I don't, to me, it's hard to imagine that. But my question is, what would stop people from, well, you know what? You know what I think would stop people? You know what I think would stop that from being successful? I think Sony's history. I think the history of console gaming itself would kill that idea. Because you can't really take something and make it sound like it's generation after generation after generation, and each generation lasts between 5 and 9 years. I don't think you can just flip a switch and go from that to, okay, now you're going to buy it every year. Crooked Vulture, you're saying it sounds like we're inventing problems that don't exist. Well, I think you're right. They don't exist yet. But I think these problems are going to come up at some point. And I'm really just kind of like looking into the further future here to try to figure out like what role does the console play in the far future? Well, not far future, but like the midterm, right? The short term, we know the console's here to stay. It's fine. It's not going anywhere. But I'm really curious about the midterm future where it's like, what is after the PlayStation 6? And I feel like it's very hard to predict, but it's a fascinating conversation to me. Chase, you're saying you'll see more frequent generations likely, but not every year. Oh, yeah. Well, that's true. The real answer is nobody knows. Yeah. It's hard to determine, you know. I don't think Sony knows. I don't think Microsoft knows. I think these companies are eager to forge that path, to plant a flag and say, this is what it's going to be. Because let me ask you, when the iPhone was first revealed by Apple, did anybody know that they were going to be asked to buy a new one every year? That's a serious question. I don't remember. Like when the first iPhone was released, did anybody know that it was essentially going to turn to, and there's going to be a new one every year, and we're going to ask you, we're going to try to get you to buy a new one every year. Did anybody know this going into the iPhone or to smartphones in general? Jay Shaka, you're saying no. Doesn't mean you need to, though. What's the point? Well, my point here is, because you're right, you don't need to. But my point here is, I guess what I'm trying to say is that I could see console manufacturers, like you want to talk about like the end game of consoles. I could see the end game of consoles ultimately being a possible move of desperation. And again, I'm talking long term. I think consoles are fine for at least the next 10 to 15 years. I do believe that. But I'm talking like once we get past the next 2 or so generations, things might change so much that one of two things is going to happen. Either these manufacturers are going to be like, we're not making consoles anymore because no one wants them. Or I could see the ultimate end game of consoles being like, we got to try to like recondition console buyers into buying them way more frequently. And that might not work because, dude, think about it. Like, you're trying to condition people like me at that point, like almost like an older generation where it's like, bro, what are you doing? Like, I'm not buying a console every year. Some people might, but I don't know. I don't know, man. I'm just spitballing shit, you know? We got Rich Rod coming in with the super chat saying, MBG, the triple OG, gangsta, 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 gangsta. Thank you, Rich Rod. Thank you, Rich Rod. Rich Rod, you could drop a membership gift, but I'm so glad that instead of doing that, you choose to call me the triple OG, gangsta, 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 gangsta. Thank you, Rich Rod. What would I do without you, bro? You're saying devs barely handle things now. Yeah. Well, you know what it is too? I want to just throw this out there. You know, another reason, the more I think about it, why a new console every year would be very dumb is, at least in my opinion, I don't think that the market's big enough to justify that. I think when you look at smartphones and yearly releases, it's because, dude, the smartphone market is like billions of people. So I think it makes a lot more sense to like have new shit every single year because you're talking about appealing to a market of billions. And I didn't take that into consideration. I think if you try to take that same model and make it appeal to a market of maybe at most 180, 200, between 180 and 250 million, I think it's like, well, that's very rich. I don't think that's going to add up very well. Check VGC for strange Star Wars news. All right, I'll check them in just a second. Feral Flame with the super chat saying, I've been saying from PlayStation 1 and Xbox One, instead of mid-gen refreshes, shrink down console gens to 5-year cycles. It'll keep consoles closer in line with PC. I would be okay with that. I mean, it's weird. It's interesting because you think about the PS5 Pro and like, it's not 5 years, but it's 4 years. And it's interesting to me that one of the biggest complaints about the PS5 Pro is, at least from people online, is that, it doesn't seem like it's that much of an upgrade. It's like, well, if it was more of an upgrade, you may as well call it a PlayStation 6 at that point. But then that also pisses people off because then people are, well, hey, I expected more from this console generation. And so it kind of creates that like, and that's another thing too. That's another reason why that yearly console release cycle would never work, because you can't call it a generation at that point. You have to call it something else. And I don't even know what happens to exclusive game development at that point. You know what I mean? The more I think about it, the more it's like, yeah, that would be some kind of nightmare scenario where it's like a last ditch attempt to just like, please buy our hardware. I think things would have to totally change, like flip upside down essentially, to ever see something like that occur. But even if we're talking about 5-year console generation cycles, like the problem then is it's exactly what we're facing now, where it's like, imagine if Sony was getting ready next year to announce and release the PlayStation 6. I mean, PS5 players would be like, what the fuck, dude? And all these games that we're talking about, like the next Ghost of Tsushima, Bend Studios game, the next Naughty Dog game, all stuff like this, it's like, oh yeah, no, you were never going to get that on PS5. That's PlayStation 6. People would be so pissed. So the 5-year console generation, I think, also presents a certain amount of problems as well. But so let me reel everything in here, and let me just simplify what I think is going to happen. I'll keep it as simple as I feel like I just went down a rabbit hole of nonsense, not because of you guys, because of me. And let me just simplify what I think is going to happen. I think it will simply be that as long as there is a healthy amount of people, like a healthy number of people willing to buy consoles from these platform holders, from these console manufacturers, I think they will continue to produce them. And I think even if that means every 6 to 7 years, I think they will just, like, for example, let me put it to you this way. Talking about the PlayStation 7 or even further than that, the way I think Sony's going to handle it is that, sure, you can play our games on your smartphone, and maybe this is where it will go. You could play our games on your smartphone because your smartphone can easily output native 4K 60 FPS. Smartphones are fucking powerhouses, dude. Like, you know? But we also will offer a PlayStation console that you hook up to your TV. Does it do anything special? No. Does it do anything, like what's it really doing differently from PC or from, by this point, powerful smartphones? Nothing really. It's just we made it, and it's a PlayStation console. And I think if there's still like 40 to 50 to 60 million people that are like, yeah, I'll buy that, then I think it's totally, even if it's like 35 to 40 million. Again, this is years down the line. This is years from now. But as long as there's like tens of millions of people still buying these consoles and this hardware, I think they'll still produce them. I don't, like, if we look at Xbox, my question to you, because Xbox is the closest one here to hitting the danger zone, how low would Xbox sales have to be in order for Microsoft to say, we're not doing this anymore? How low would they actually have to be? I mean, I imagine they would have to be like 10 million or lower, like for the entire generation. Like it would have to be in just a crazy fucking low number of like, wow, okay, like why are we even doing this? Like 8 million people bought Xboxes. Why are we doing this? And I think the same thing applies to Sony, where it's like, dude, think about Nintendo, bro. Nintendo is a great, dude. Nintendo had a generation where they sold 13 million consoles. 13 million. And they still made another console, you know? So I'm not sure how low this number would have to go. See, Corey has entered the chat. What's up, Corey, man? What's up, Corey, man? Dude, my bro. Corey's like,
kept you waiting, huh?
Oh my God. I mixed an element. You guys know the electrolyte powder element? I mixed it in this glass of water, and it's like, I need more water in there, dude. It's like too much salt. It's like a gram of salt, bro. I feel like I'm drinking just straight up like ocean salt water. It's tough. I'm trying to hydrate, but it's tough right now. We got Arnie Vesper here saying, what do you think the PS5 Pro will do for GTA 6? Well, if GTA 6 is targeting 60 frames per second, I think it's going to offer a very good-looking performance mode, a very good-looking 60 FPS not mode. I think it's just going to make the game in fidelity mode look insane. To be clear, like, I think the PS5 Pro is going to make GTA 6 no matter what. It's going to make it look fucking insane. Like, I think we could see GTA 6 on the PS5 Pro be the best looking game ever made. I'm not exaggerating that because it's not going to be on PC yet. And so, at least for a limited amount of time, the PS5 Pro could offer the best looking game ever made in history. But I do believe that I want to make it clear, I don't think the PS5 Pro is going to be the difference between we can give you 60 FPS on GTA 6. That's not something the Pro can do. The Pro is going to just simply allow, if GTA 6 was already targeting 60 frames, it will allow it to look even better when you're playing it at 60 frames. So, for example, if in order to play GTA 6 at 60 frames on the base PS5, you have to play it at 1080p, which I think would be annoying to a lot of people, but that's what you have to do. You have to be at 1080p, 60 FPS. I think what the PS5 Pro would then do is we can give you 1440p at 60 FPS. That's what I think. And I think to a lot of people, that is, I mean, maybe not a lot of people, but for somebody like me, it's like, oh yeah, that sounds nice to me. 1440p is very nice. At least compared to 1080p. But if GTA 6 is like 1440p, 60 FPS on the base PS5, which I do not think it will be. But then I think at that point you'll see, oh, we can hit like nearly native 4K at 60 FPS on the Pro. But Rockstar is insane. Don't doubt Rockstar, man. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, do not doubt Rockstar. I don't. We have Mark Tech here saying VG Charts just gave a numbers update on PS5 and Xbox Series. The gap is almost 2-1, 55.5 million versus 28 million, and they are known to have elevated Xbox numbers. Interesting. Well, I do want to say, Mark Tech, I don't take VG Charts seriously. I don't mind like looking at their data sometimes, but I do not take them seriously. And the reason for it is just because I think it's been proven in the past that they're just not really that accurate. However, I will say it does seem pretty clear, generally speaking, that the PS5 is outselling the Xbox Series consoles by 2-1. And that gap, if the PS5 can still maintain its momentum for the remainder of this generation, that could very well end up, like the final number could end up producing a 3-1 ratio if things continue on their path that they're on right now. Lord Cannon says 28 million is pretty good. I mean, 28 million in and of itself is not bad, but the real question is how much further is it going to go from 28 million over the next 4 years? I feel like when we think about the PS5, a lot of us feel confident in saying that, well, in the next 4 years, the PS5 will probably be very close to 80, 90, or 100 million. I feel like there's, when you look at the Xbox right now, I don't know. Is it even going to be close to 50 million? I don't know. That's a concerning situation, I think, for Xbox hardware right now. But you're saying, Shinji, you're saying it depends on the games. If the second half games are absolute fire, then it will sell 100 million. Dude, you know how I feel about that, man. I feel very strongly that if Sony puts on, in the next 2 to 3 years, amazing showcases, like I'm talking cataclysmic event level showcases for the PS5, and then they release these like banger games each year, Yeah, I think I think the PS5 will easily hit 100 million, easily. But I think if Sony doesn't start delivering that sooner rather than later, then I think sales could start to slip a little bit. I do. So I think it's in Sony's hands right now. Although I will say GTA 6 alone is going to sell a lot of consoles. I mean, to be honest, like GTA 6 by itself could probably ensure the PS5 could get to at least like 80 million by itself. For a lot of people, the PS5 is going to be a GTA 6 machine. And it's so crazy. You know, to be honest, man, like that is nuts to think about. Like that is actually nuts. We haven't seen a mainline GTA game since the PS3, dude. So I don't know. I don't know what this game's going to do for the PS5, bro. This game could literally shoot the PS5 beyond 100 million. I mean, I know that may sound crazy to people, but really think about that for a second. Think about how many people play GTA, how many units GTA 5 has sold. And when people realize, like whether they're shopping online, they're watching videos, they're walking around the stores, and the realization is, if you want GTA 6, you got to buy that white thing there. See that like white console looking thing? You got to buy that to play it. Oh, so I can't play it on my PS4? No, you can't. Oh, can I play it on my PC? No, you can't. Think about that. GTA 6 is gonna fucking sell so many PS5s. It's not even funny, and Xboxes as well, for that matter. It's gonna be nice to see. We got PlayStation Pete, a member for 28 months. He says, MBG, can I give you my PlayStation Portal? You want to give me your PlayStation Portal? Saying Astrobot's Playroom 2 will ship with the PS5 Pro digitally installed. Sony needs to follow Nintendo. 140 million Switches sold. Games only on Switch. Yeah, I gotta say, man, I am surprised that it is a little bit surprising to see how much Sony is willing to embrace PC, knowing that, you know, you've sold the most amount of consoles with the PS2, and Switch is getting pretty close to it. So, but PlayStation Pete, don't worry about it, man. I'm gonna get a PlayStation Portal at some point. I don't want you to give me your Portal, bro. I don't know that I would feel comfortable taking that. That's an extremely kind gesture, though, bro. I'll think about it. People have told me before to open like a PO box or something, but I don't know. I would be afraid to do that because it's like I don't want to know what some people are gonna send me, man. I don't want to deal with that. But the thing about the PS5 Pro, or sorry, the PlayStation Portal, is I'm just gonna buy it when the time is right for me. I'm probably not gonna get a Portal until I have a PS5 Pro, honestly. So whenever I do use the Portal, I'd rather be streaming it from the Pro console. But I appreciate that, PlayStation Pete. Damn, this wind is really picking up here. Hold on, my curtain's flying around everywhere. Give me a... Might get a little bit brighter, but oh man, that breeze is so nice. Yeah. I can't get my camera to focus. There we go. Let's focus. All right. Let's see here. Whew. What is the temperature outside, dude? It is, oh my God, it's almost 70. Oh, it's almost 80 degrees. I'm like, why am I starting to sweat in here, dude? We got JD Gamer with a $5 super chat. Boss is next to me, by the way. Corey, I think you missed it. We did give Boss some snacks. So you did miss that, but maybe we'll give him some more a little bit later. JD Gamer is saying, so if it's about the games Xbox has, Avowed, Indie, Hellblade 2, Clockwork Revolution, South of Midnight, Perfect Dark, Fable, and Gears of War coming to Xbox. And that's true. Yes, JD Gamer, that's true. And you see, here's the problem. Well, I don't know that it's a problem as much as it's a situation where you're right about that. Like, these games are not announced for any other platforms except for, we know they're launching on PC, but they're not announced for competing consoles. So if you want to play Avowed or Hellblade 2 or Perfect Dark or Fable or Gears of War, the next Gears of War, you're either going to have to play it on an Xbox or play it on PC. But to me, the real situation, at least this is how I feel, and I assume I'm not alone in this feeling, is that now that I have witnessed Microsoft do something that I never thought they would do, where they're like, hey, you want to play Hi-Fi Rush on your PS5? Go pre-order it. And there's all these rumors about, and they're not just rumors, but a lot of it is like, a lot of it's coming from, I guess what you consider credible sources, but they're just continuing to swirl, and they're not going away. They're only increasing each week, seemingly. What that does for somebody like me is, I don't have a problem. Like, I know people think like I have such a problem with Xbox that like I would never touch an Xbox. I'll never buy a fucking Xbox. Fuck that piece of shit. Like, I'm really not like that. Like, I don't feel the incentive, and it's mainly because Xbox, like, I do feel like I have to turn to Microsoft and say, Microsoft, listen, I'm way too invested in PlayStation. Like, I care about trophy hunting. I care about, getting my platinums. I care about, I just care about being in this ecosystem, and I really don't want to get heavily involved in another one. I think what that does is, what Microsoft has done, what it does for somebody like me is now I'm willing to sit here and wait. Even if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, if it doesn't happen, then I will get an Xbox and play it or play it on PC. But now somebody like me is now willing to wait on Hellblade 2 to see, like, it might come to PlayStation. And I'd rather play that on PlayStation. Like, if Microsoft is planning to do that at some point, that's where I'd rather play it. Because I am interested in Hellblade. I do think it looks fun. I think it does look good. But I'd rather just wait. And that's what's so weird to me about this situation, is because before Microsoft made these announcements and these rumors started to swirl, I wasn't looking at that. I wasn't looking at it that way. I was looking at it as, I'll play it on PC. I see somebody saying, why not play Hellblade 2 on PC? Well, I mean, it's definitely an option for me, and I think I could probably get sick. I don't know. I don't want to say I probably could get 60 FPS. I'd have to see the specs first, or like the requirements. But again, it's being involved in the ecosystem, man. It's just like, I have a game library on PlayStation, and I do trophy hunt on PlayStation. I play the meta game on PlayStation with trophies. And just, it's like, if Microsoft's going to come out a year from now, and I'm not saying that isn't a long time, but it's like, I'll be playing plenty of other games in that time. In the meantime, if they come out and they say, all right, we're going to release Hellblade 2 on PS5, and it's going to have trophy support and DualSense support and the whole 9 yards, and it's releasing in like May or June 2025, I'll buy it, and I'll play it that way. Maybe they'll even do like a physical version for limited run games or something. So this is where I'll be honest, man, like, Microsoft has fucked me all up, dude. Where, like, any chance there may have been for me to jump on something, like, the only game I feel confident in saying that I probably wouldn't be willing to wait for, although I'd have to see, the only game is probably State of Decay 3, but even then, I'm not. It depends on the direction they go in. And JD Gamer with another super chat here. Oh shit, is there a fly in here? Come on. Why is there a fly in here now? This is what I hate, man. I love spring and I love the warm weather, but fucking bugs and shit. Anyway, JD Gamer, you're saying So GTA 6 will sell loads of consoles. Why wouldn't most casuals pick up the cheapest option to play it? And that would be the Xbox Series S. Hold on. Boss, get the fly, bro. Get it. You see it? Oh, okay. Sorry, JD Gamer. I'm going to answer you in just a second. This fly is going to annoy the absolute shit out of me now. Well, I guess JD Gamer, truthfully, the reason, look, to be clear, I think GTA 6 is going to sell a lot of Series S consoles. But you're saying, why wouldn't most casuals pick up the cheapest option in the Series S? I mean, that question could apply to this entire generation so far. Think about that. Why didn't most people buy a Series S for Hogwarts Legacy? Or, oh my God, okay. I gotta see if I could kill this fucking thing, dude. This is one of those like really annoying flies. It's like a medium-sized fly. I tell Boss to get him. Dude, Boss is just on the ground, like, just on his back, chilling. Look. Go get him, Boss. Come on. Go get him. Come on. Go get him. Dude, he's looking at the camera like, huh? I ain't doing shit, bro. I'm chilling. Oh, wait. Did you see him? Come on. Go get that fly, dude. All right. You just do your thing. Hey. No. Stop that. Boss. No. Do not destroy my couch, bro. What? Do you see this shit? That's not hunting the fly, bro. Look at this dude. Look at this dude. I'm sorry. I'm going to continue this conversation. I've never seen... He knows he's on camera. He knows he's on camera. Look at this cat. He's never done this. Come on, boss. Bro. There ain't no way. There ain't... He's hamming it up. Dude, that was funny as hell. I'm sorry. I got so distracted by Boss there, but holy shit, man. He's never done that. Cat jitsu. Yeah, he was. Anyway. What the hell were we talking about? Xbox Series S, GTA 6. I don't think GTA 6 is going to really... I don't think most people are going to gravitate towards the Xbox Series S for GTA 6 because, again, I just have to ask the question, like, why hasn't that already happened for all of the other big third-party games that have launched this generation? You know? So many people have just made the decision, like, nah, I'm just going to buy a PS5 or go to PC. And I think that's the real struggle that Xbox is still having with these consoles, you know, where it's like, again, to be clear, GTA 6 is going to help the Xbox console. All the games you listed, JD Gamer, that, you know, like there's a rumor that Gears 6 is going to be revealed at the Xbox showcase this year. It's going to be like a showstopper. If that's true, I think that's going to help the Xbox consoles. But I don't think it's going to be enough to really move the needle at this point in time. And if it is, I would be quite surprised by that. I'd be like, oh, okay, well, that's a big turnaround that, you know, that's a big turnaround that I wasn't necessarily anticipating. But I just don't think it's going to happen. And also, yeah, that's true. IP Gaming's bringing it up. JD Gamer, it's worth asking, like, what is GTA 6 going to look like on the Series S? How is it going to run on the Series S? I do think that will be important to people, especially for a game like GTA, where I'm not saying everybody who buys GTA is buying it because they want the best possible graphics, but I don't know. If the Series S really struggles with it, you could see people maybe deciding, like, you know, for like 200 more, I could get a much better experience, whether that be for the Series X or the PS5. So we'll see, man. GTA 6 is going to do some crazy things for this industry. It's probably some unpredictable things. I want to say that as well. GTA 6 is going to be such an event. It's going to be so big that it's probably going to do some unpredictable things for this industry. And we'll see, man. All right, let's see here. So I do have one more topic I want to cover with you guys before we wrap up today. And this topic, I think, is a pretty interesting one. It's what my poll is referring to. There is a poll out here in the chat that you guys can vote on. Do you buy AAA games at launch for $70? Is there going to be a members lounge? Yes, I'm doing a members lounge today. So if you are a channel member, please join me over there. And if you guys want to be, if anybody wants to become a channel member, now is a good time to do so. We're getting closer to the tail end of this stream. If you want to gift memberships, see if we could hit that 50 goal before the end of the stream. We'll do some reps. It's up to you guys. But I have this interesting article from Push Square where it says, the title reads, $70 games are just a phase, believes Saber Interactive CEO. Says here, video games retailing at $70 is just a temporary thing, Saber Interactive CEO Matthew Karch believes. Speaking to IGN following the company's split from Embracer Group, he reckons the price point is not sustainable as production costs continue to increase. So a middle ground needs to be found where budgets are reduced. His quote reads, I think that as games become more expensive to make, the $70 title is going to go the way of the dodo. I do. I just don't think it's sustainable. Look, you remember the hype for Cyberpunk 2077, which I think actually ultimately performed okay, but when the expectations are so high and so much money is put into one title, it's hugely risky for the company that's doing it. What if it fails? You remember what happened when Ubisoft a couple of years ago, or with Ubisoft a couple of years ago, all their titles slipped out of the year, and then all of a sudden they were in an entirely different place. It's hard to recover from that. I think the market is going to shift to development, which is not necessarily lower quality, but there's going to be an emphasis on trying to find ways to reduce costs. Funnily enough, Saber Interactive itself is planning on launching Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2 at $70, but Karch says this is being done to avoid concerns of a lower price point, indicating it's a worse game. I feel like that's like kind of, that's kind of nonsense right there. Like, dude, a lot of people are, I think a lot of people are totally cool with. Anyway, I need to ask you guys, do you agree with what Saber Interactive CEO is saying here, where he believes that the $70 game is going to go away, essentially, that it's just not sustainable? My feeling on this is I think he's very wrong. I do. Because here's what I think. I think that he's making it sound like if video game publishers find ways to reduce the cost of their games, like, okay, it's now cheaper to make these games. That doesn't mean we're going to suddenly see games, we're going back to $60 now. Or we're going back to $50. That's not how that works. $70 is here to stay. But I think what he really means, hold on. Let me make sure. he doesn't seem to be alluding to games getting more expensive, but I actually think it's more likely that games might get more expensive in the future, not cheaper. But it's all about the market, market tolerance. To me, what's very scary and why I like, look, I don't think what he's saying is dumb. I just don't agree with it. Like, I just don't see this happening. I do see the $70 price point staying, and maybe even with some games in the future being even more expensive. But what is very concerning to me is when we see a publisher like WB come out and say, we've sold 23 million units of Hogwarts Legacy at $70 a pop. And they basically come to the conclusion that that's not good enough. That is terrifying. Like, I don't know if that's just sheer greed, but that's terrifying, man, because that's like, whoa, how is $23 million or 23 million units at $70 a pop not enough? What went wrong? Yeah, I have to believe that's greed, dude. That sounds like that's crazy. But it's important to understand that greed is at the heart of all of this, It's all about perpetual growth. The biggest, the best growth that a company can get. They want to maximize growth. They want to maximize profit. Profit equals growth. So greed is ultimately at the heart of this. And my view on this, it's interesting. He name drops Cyberpunk. And look, somebody correct me if I'm wrong about this, but I think, didn't Cyberpunk make like a massive comeback to where it's like now it's like one of the most successful games ever? Am I wrong about that? Like, so he says it did like okay, but I'm like, I think Cyberpunk did a little bit more than okay in the end. But I get what he's saying. He's basically just saying that like everything is riding on this one game. And like the risk is just too high. And it's like that level of risk is not sustainable. It's hard, man, because I do feel like this does speak to the problem that PlayStation currently suffers from, which is exactly that. Like, their games are meant to be so big and so exciting that, the risk of something going wrong, the ripple effect that could have, the negative ripple effect that could have on a studio, on the game itself, on the entire publishing unit, it could be disastrous. And I don't want to see that happen, but at the same time, I do feel like this just comes down to, I think that the solution to this problem is I think more $50 games, more $40 games. I don't think it's to eradicate the $70 price tag. I don't think the $70 price tag is just a phase. I think we just need to see more, like, we just need to see video game developers and publishers, like kind of like what we just saw with Hellblade, or not Hellblade, with Helldivers, to be able to come out and just say, yeah, we're going to charge $40. Doesn't mean we can't ever charge 70, but for this, 40. And we got Corey the Legend Landiga coming in. He says, you know what? We're not stopping with the membership train today. He drops 10 membership gifts for you guys. Corey just drops a 10 bomb. And just like that, we go from 28 members to 38 members. Corey, hold on.
But that was some fancy shooting.
Some fancy shooting there, Corey. God, man. Dude, I put Snake in my thumbnail today. Oh my God, this fucking fly. I'm about to end up, I'm going to destroy my whole setup trying to kill this fly. But, boss killer of couches. He didn't do any damage, luckily, but, he has some sharp nails. I put Snake in my thumbnail because, I don't know, man. I just felt like it. I'll be honest. Like, I read your comment earlier, Corey, when you left it in the members only post, and it just got me thinking about Metal Gear again. And so when I was making my thumbnail, I'm like, I'm gonna throw Snake in the thumbnail. It's been a while. I'm just going to start putting Snake in every one of my thumbnails for no reason. Metal Gear's always part of the conversation, man. But yeah, Corey, thank you for that, man. You just brought us up to 38 members, guys. I don't know if we're going to do it or not. We still have a little bit of time here before we close up this stream to go to the members lounge. And so we are 12 members away from hitting 50, from hitting a second goal. So are we going to do it? I don't know. If we hit 50, I'll do some reps before we close out the stream. But Corey is throwing it up there to you guys. He's dropping 10. Let me go check this poll. Wow, this poll almost has 1,000 votes, which is nice to see. Interesting results here. Yeah, see, when I look at the results of my poll, this is what tells me that I don't think this is a phase. As I said a moment ago, I think what we need to see are more development teams and more studios willing to create games that are not necessarily the biggest AAA games. Maybe even they are AA, but I do think the standard of a AA game has increased to where a AA game now is what a AAA game used to be. And to be able to say, like, yeah, this is a $50 game or even a $40 game. I want to highlight this. Check this out. This is insane. Reporting from WCCF Tech, Arrowhead's Helldivers 2 continues to sell at an incredible rate. The latest report from GSD, as reported by Games Industry, reveals that the game was once again the top-selling title when considering both digital and physical channels across the UK. Even more impressive is the fact that Helldivers 2 is currently outpacing sales of Insomniac's Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Granted, it has certain advantages, such as the lower price point, and it's also available on PC. But yeah, dude, like, this to me is just like, holy shit, man. Like, this game is actually, I don't know what to say about that. I mean, it just goes to show that Sony and all other video game publishers have to show a willingness to be able to release games that are not necessarily, because I'm telling you, Helldivers 2 did not have the hype that Spider-Man 2 did. Helldivers 2 was under the fucking radar, bro. And the game wasn't priced at 70 because they probably were like, there's no way this game would do well at 70. But it just goes to show, man, like, you got to be willing to try, to just at least try to put these not cheaper, but like lower price. I don't like to use the word cheaper because it makes them sound like they're not worth it, but like just these lower price games. Corey says, get her done, boys. You guys, come on. You heard it. Corey's asking for you guys to get her done. Get her done. Get her done. I haven't heard that. Who's famous for coining that term? It's like Larry the Cable Guy or something. Corey's asking you to answer the call here. You're going to let Corey down? How are you guys going to do that to Corey? Corey clearly wants the Metal Gear theme and reps. You're just going to leave him hanging like that. Is it Larry the Cable Guy? Okay. I don't know how I know that. I'm not even like too familiar with that guy, but MBG the Cable Guy. Jim is laughing somewhere with some wine with his first live service game being so successful. Well, even Jim Ryan in his last, he did that podcast with it was at the official PlayStation podcast. Even he said that, like, yeah, it was like selling well ahead of their expectations, doing like way better than they expected. And I think that's obvious, but like, yeah, I don't think the $70 video game is going to go away. I don't think it needs to go away. There's another side to this coin, though, when talking about the $70 video game. Too often, there are $70 video games that shouldn't be $70, or if they shouldn't be $70, they're not ready. They're not ready for the prime time. And I think the quality can fluctuate a little too much, with $70. I mean, it's tough because it's like, well, how objective can you really be about this? How do you measure one $70 AAA title against another if they're very different, if they're different genres? You know, like, can a $70 title, if it's like a AAA, really good looking horror game, is it okay if it's 10 to 12 hours and $70 versus, you know, a game like maybe Ghost of Tsushima, where it's like people are going to buy a game like Ghost of Tsushima expecting to spend a minimum of like 30 to 35 hours in it at minimum, probably closer to 50, 60, 70 hours. And this is tough because I like, and again, you know, you do bring kind of Hellblade 2 into this conversation a little bit, just because Hellblade, putting Game Pass aside, we'll just put it aside for a second. Like, Hellblade's an 8-hour, extremely refined experience for $50. And I'm going to be very curious to see, not to criticize it, but just genuinely curious. Like, for people who pay $50 for that game, are they going to feel like it was worth that 50? Xbox users specifically, like that. Like, I mean, it's not about, well, you could just buy it on or play it on Game Pass. I'm not worried about that. I want to know, like, for like the price of it is $50. I want to know if a person paid that full price, did it feel worth it to them? Why or why not? You know, I'm very curious about this because I just want to know if that is something that we can expect more of in the future. These 8 to 10 hour, maybe 12-hour single player experiences that are going to be maybe like $50. Would I support games going to $100? I don't know about that. That'd be tough. It's all about the engagement. Titus with a super chat saying, "Hey, MBG, we need more AA games like we got 1 or 2 generations ago. I started Banishers on Sunday and enjoyed a lot. Such games need to come back." I agree. I can mostly agree with that. I think what Sony needs to try to do, and just talking about PlayStation, I think what Sony needs to do is, well, they already have their top tier studios, right? Sony already has these major heavy hitter studios that, you know, when they produce a game, the expectation is this game's going to be as AAA as it gets. And because of that, the budget reflects that, and the time taken to develop the game reflects that. But I think Sony also needs to try to, and I think to be clear, I think they've done this, to kind of have a second layer of studios underneath that, such as Housemarque, Bluepoint, Team Asobi, Media Molecule. I mean, Sony needs to get their fucking shit together with Media Molecule, dude. Media Molecule could be a great AA studio for them that's like putting out games every like 3 or 4 years, or even less than that, maybe in some cases. Maybe not less than that, but just, you know, quicker than some of these bigger top tier studios that are doing big AAA games. Get these studios under, you know, to basically kind of help support the bigger ones in between. And then to create the ultimate trifecta, I guess here, if I'm using the right word, have your live service studios. If Sony can do this effectively, they can cover all the bases. And if something fails, such as a big AAA game, it will be bad. And it will be like, oh man, this game flopped and we're feeling the effects of it. But it's ultimately okay because we still got our smaller AA studios that are doing great and our live service studios that are doing great. And other way around, if a smaller AA game fails, okay, it's not a big deal because our AAA games are cleaning house for us. Or again, live service games are doing well. I think that Sony needs to try to have this rotation, this diversity in their studios without scaling up too much. And I think that we kind of are about to see that, right? Because think about it. We got Helldivers 2 live service covered. We got Spider-Man 2 and God of War Ragnarok and Horizon Forbidden West. Massive AAA covered. And this year, we're seemingly going to get a new Astro Bot game. And apparently, there's another smaller game we're going to be getting, or like an Until Dawn. So from what I can tell, Sony is they're covering all these bases. And I just think that they just have to kind of flesh this out a little bit. And I do think that, see, the real question, here's what I think. The real question is if Sony's going to be able to thread that needle of can we effectively have our bigger studios such as Naughty Dog and Insomniac and Santa Monica and all these, can we effectively have them produce these smaller $50 in between AA games in between their big AAA games? If so, I'm telling you, if Sony can figure out a cadence and like a schedule, like a timeline where they can just make that happen in a cyclical way, I think that would alleviate almost all of their problems. Not all of them, but it would go a long way in completely just changing, I think, the dynamic right now that's at play. That is, again, like the big $70 AAA game and the problems that come along with it, the risk that comes along with it. Because I feel like Sony has been doing this. We know they're going to, like, we know we're getting Venom, right? Like, we know Sony put out Miles Morales. We know, well, see, I don't know. That's what's tough, though, because to be honest, Sony Studios have kind of been doing this. I just think a lot of the stuff that they do turns out to be DLC, right? Like, think of the Iki Island DLC, right? I mean, that probably made them a good chunk of money. But let me ask you, could that have been justified as a standalone $40 experience? I don't think so. I don't think it had enough content to be positioned that way. Would it have been worth it to try to create? Well, see, that's the thing, is like they probably thought about it, but then they were like, well, if we try to beef this game up, so to speak, this Iki Island expansion, and so we can sell it for $40 as like a standalone AA game. If it's not, like, if that's not what it was planned to be, at that point you're just going to pad the shit out of it, and people are going to notice that, and something's going to feel not quite right about it. So I don't know what obviously no one really knows what the answer is, but I do feel confident in saying that the $70 video game is not going to go away. It doesn't need to go away. And I think that big AAA games, because see, I also want to say this too. I'm kind of getting tired of the notion that like AAA games are the problem. AAA games are not the problem. The problem are underwhelming AAA games that don't hit the mark. AAA games that honestly, development fuck ups, dude. And I get it. Like people fuck up, people make mistakes, but that's just the way it goes, where it's like there are going to be development teams that are given AAA budgets to make AAA games that turn out not good. And people are not going to buy them because of it. On the other side, there are going to be development teams that get AAA budgets and make good AAA games and they find success. Like there's nothing, this hasn't changed. The only thing that I would say has actually changed is maybe the expectation of these AAA games has increased somewhat. But I'm just kind of getting sick and tired of people making it sound like the expectation is so unrealistic. Like, no, I don't think it is. Just make a good fucking game, dude, with exciting presentation. I'm sorry to like reduce it so low to where it's like, oh yeah, just make a good game. I understand the pressure's high, but it's just like, I just think sometimes developers, I think some development studios, I think, just lose the forest for the trees, where it's like, look at your core audience. Look at what has worked previously. Don't make that exact same thing and just rinse and repeat, but just take notes. Like, what is it? Because you know what I think it is sometimes? I think sometimes some of these games succeed. It's almost like, it's like a hit song. It's like when you listen to music, right? Like artists that create some hit songs, but then after that, they don't. There's just no more hit songs. They keep creating songs and maybe they do just fine, but none of them are big hits like their previous songs. And they just lose, like they just don't, they look back and like, I don't know how I did that. Like, I don't know what the secret sauce was. I mean, I would say a one-hit wonder, but I don't think it's kind of like the in-between between a one-hit wonder and just a hit producing machine, like an artist or a band that just constantly, like every album, they just have hit songs all the time. And they've just like stood the test of time. Yeah, I guess we could just use the term one-hit wonder, but I feel like this is what happens with a lot of video games, a lot of studios. Like again, it kind of reminds me of like what's the BioWare, right? Like BioWare, again, like I don't think you could call BioWare a one-hit wonder because it's a little bit disingenuous because it's not just one thing, but it's like an era, right? Maybe a better way to describe it is like an era where it's like there's this era of they know what they're doing. They're delivering in the way people want them to, and it's just working. And then after that, it's like they just completely are like, we lost the magic, bro. And it's like, was it magic or was it just you were more in touch with what people want? And that's what I think is maybe problematic with some developers these days is like, I don't know, man. Like, could it be also there's oversaturation? Is that a problem? You know, does it become more difficult to figure out to listen to what people actually want and figure out what people actually want when things are oversaturated? I mean, we just talked in our last stream about live service games, about how every studio, and not every studio, but like every game that's like the most engaged with, it's just like a very select handful of games, and they are very specific types of games. And it's like, is the takeaway we just should make those types of games? Well, we've seen that. How many Fortnite clones? How many PUBG clones? How many shooters tried to come out and be the next big shooter? How many Call of Duty clones? It's like, at some point, I think there just has to be this kind of blend, this perfect blend. And I'm not saying this is easy to achieve, but I just feel like too many developers lose sight of it. Is you have to just stick to the basics and the fundamentals, because those never change. Those never change. Right? One factor, just that one something where it's like, this is gonna impress people. People are gonna like this. And I guess that's where the biggest risk comes in. But I don't know, sometimes I look at the AAA video game industry and I just think like, yeah, I guess maybe AA games kind of mitigate that. When you make a AA game, you don't have to go into it saying like, we have to have that it factor. Saying there's audio lag. Is there? All right, this is getting awkward. People are fucking walking by my house now and looking in my window and shit, and I'm like, that person doesn't know what's going on here. Corey, is that you outside, bro? Audio issues. All right. Are we good now? Is the audio good? I need some feedback. Let me know if the audio is fixed now. I hope it is. Yeah, hopefully it's fixed. Anyway, Assuming it's fixed, I think that's about all I have to say. Okay, you guys. Wait, Chris Brown says no, it's not good. I guess you guys are gonna have to try refreshing. Some people are saying it's fine. Others are saying it's not. Try refreshing the stream. Hopefully that will fix it. But yeah, I think that's basically all I have to say at this point about this topic. Not a whole lot of news, but I did find this pretty interesting. And, the topic of video game prices, it's going to be something that I think remains relevant for forever, as long as video games are around. All right, so there was this article that I think it was Irfan. He told me to check out this interesting article regarding Star Wars. It says the physical version of Star Wars Outlaws will require an online connection to install. It's been revealed. Pre-orders for Ubisoft's single-player title went live today, coinciding with the announcement of a August 30th, 2024 release date. Internet required to install the game, reads a message posted on the box art. While it's unclear why the game requires an internet connection to install, this was also the case for Ubisoft's Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora, which released in December. In Avatar's case, the one-time internet connection was required to download a day one patch in order to start playing the game. Why? This is... Look. I'm not trying to make a bigger deal of this than is necessary. Right? Like, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I don't have internet and that I can install these whatever. But it's the principle of, like, what if you buy a physical fucking video game for $70 printed on a fucking disc? I don't care what the reason is. You should be able to, if there is no connection to the internet, put that fucking disc in your machine and play it. This, like, I am so tired of just these simple, basic concepts not being adhered to for dumb reasons. A day one patch required to play the game. So in other words, well, see, that's the question. Like, are you telling... So that means you're either putting an unfinished version on the disc, and in order to get the actual final version, like the finished version, you need that patch, or you'll get a broken version of the game. It's either that, or it's just, here's 250 megabytes of data. It's basically a key to unlock the game. That's bullshit, dude. That's just complete bullshit. Like, again, am I going to sit here and pretend that, oh man, I'll never connect to the internet? No, I'm on the internet right now streaming you guys. Like, it's the principle of it. It's like, dude, if you're going to sell me a game physically on a disc, it just should work. Period. Like, it should work offline. It's frustrating. It's like, I'm not like that angry where it's like, oh, I'm gonna punch a hole in the wall and I'm gonna scream about it. Like, it's really, at the end of the day, that's very low on the list of my problems in life. But when I come across it and it's like, but why? Why does that have to be a thing? Because you know what? If there is an apocalypse and I'm in a bunker somewhere with a PS5 and I happen to have a physical copy of this game, I ain't gonna be able to play that shit. Then it would be very high on my list of problems. All right, guys. I think, hold on. I got one more thing I want to check before I call it. Give me one sec. Okay. Yeah, so we are finished with all the topics that I had lined up for the stream. Actually, stream went a lot longer than I thought it would. I did not realize we are 3.5 hours in. All right, so I'll give like a 2 or 3 minute window because we're going to be heading over to the members lounge for a little bit after this stream comes to a close. So again, we're sitting at 38 members. We are 12 away from hitting another goal, but last call for member roundup here. And we are also sitting at 272 likes. So guys, please do me a favor and hit that like button. It really helps. I don't know. Let's see if we can push it. Can we get 300 likes before this stream ends? We got like 3 minutes here to get 300 likes. Well, we're already at 273. So we need just a little more, like 26 likes. Saying Destiny 2, the final shape, seems to be spurring on quite the interest. Maybe the DLC will do well for Bungie after all. It could. Wouldn't that be shocking? That would be pretty shocking to me. As if, like, in the end, it actually ended up doing incredibly well. It, like, saves Bungie. And Sony's like, you did it. That would be surprising. And I'm going to end this poll, by the way, so we can look at the results. So, do you buy AAA games at launch for $70? 53% is based on 989 votes. 53% say yup. 34% say rarely. And 11% say never. Seems like a lot of people still buy their games, at launch, full price. I do. I mean, I'm okay with that. As long as I'm as long as I feel like it's worth it. MRPD, you're saying Mike is weird. Am I having issues? Am I having audio issues? Let me see. I'm going to check myself. Okay, I'm trying to get some feedback on the audio. Maybe maybe it's because I'm talking a little too close to it. It sounds okay to me. Everything seems fine. All right. Yeah, I just checked it myself. The audio seems totally fine to me. Same as ever. Angry Well Watcher says the irony is I pay more than $70 for deluxe versions. LOL. Yeah, and that's the thing too, is like a lot of times, there's conversations that these publishers should be charging even more for these games. But I don't know. I mean, they kind of are, right? Like with these deluxe and ultimate editions. You know what's crazy to me is, dude, some of these games, they have like $110 editions, and I'm like, dude, I don't think I could do that. I don't think. I mean, they'd have to really offer something very significant for me to go that far. But on rare occasion, I do get the ultimate editions of games. It's pretty rare though. I'm waiting to see if Konami's gonna have like a collector's edition for like Metal Gear or something like that. I absolutely am. Yeah, sign me up. You do a collector's edition for Metal Gear Delta, I'm there, bro. I'm there. And Corey is like, you know what, guys? Fuck it, I'll do it myself. Corey comes in literally in the last couple minutes of the stream here and drops a 10 bomb on you guys. Corey's doing the heavy lifting for you guys today. Big time. Corey just got us up to 48 members. Corey, dude.
Kept you waiting.
Kept me waiting till the end of the stream. I really appreciate that, dude. Seriously, that's crazy. We are 2 memberships away from hitting 50. And if telling you, see, this is why I waited, because I'm like, look, we hit 50. I'm gonna do some reps. Now, I'm not gonna go crazy today, but we'll do some reps. But Corey, thank you so much for that, dude. Seriously, you are such a huge supporter. I can't talk right now. Let's try this again. Corey, you are such a huge supporter of the channel and of the community. I don't know what the hell's wrong with me today, dude. I can't talk right. So I'll give it another minute or two, just because, I mean, it's right there, people. Come on, 2 memberships away. Somebody's going to do it. Don't make Corey do it alone, guys. But yeah, Corey, dude, you seriously, you've been doing the heavy lifting today. Corey, I think you dropped 20, and Steven Leon dropped 20 earlier. So you and Steven Leon doing some seriously heavy lifting today with 40 memberships between the both of you. And we got some singles in there. We got Titus. So thank you guys so much for coming through today and showing some great support. You know, it's interesting because I want to ask this question to the audience here. So I'm assuming you guys, I wouldn't say that you guys follow gaming news as, I mean, maybe you do, but my assumption is most of you don't follow gaming news as closely as I do, like as intently as I do, but you still follow it very closely, right? You tell me if I'm wrong about that. I'm assuming you guys do follow gaming news very closely. I've been doing this for a while now, to where I feel like I pick up on the energy of it all at this point. Like, I've been doing it for so long, where it's like I can actually feel the energy of the gaming industry day in and day out. As weird as that sounds, where like I can just tell. It's hard to explain, but there's just this kind of feel to it. You know what I mean? And for example, today, I just got this general sense today that the energy is just it's not quite there. You know, like, it's not high, it's not intense, it's not any of these things. However, is it the hive mind? No, I don't think it's that either. Maybe it is. I don't know. I like to think it's not. Because I'm not talking about like just you guys or the audience. I'm talking like just generally speaking. To whereas, let's say not Sunday, but like last Thursday and Friday, there was just this different energy for those 2 days. Like, not from me, not just for, again, from you guys, but just in the industry. It's hard to explain. I think you guys understand what I'm saying. Maybe you guys feel the same way, but I have noticed this. After doing this for so long, that I can just tell when things are like, I'm trying to think of the best way to word this. Like, I can just tell when I wake up in the morning and I check to see what's going on in the gaming news cycle, so to speak. Like, is today going to be like a high energy day, a mid energy day, or a low energy day? Not from me, again, but just across the industry. But of course, there's always the unpredictable stuff. Like, for example, if Sony were to just drop right now, they're like, hey, we're doing a showcase in a week. Obviously, that would immediately change the energy of it all, but it would be so spontaneous and unpredictable. But all right, guys. So we are all right. All right. I guess this is how it's going to be. It's cool. It's cool. You guys pulled through. All right. It's all good. We're at the 3 hour and 38 minute mark. I can't push it much further because we got to do the members lounge. But it looks like we're going to end the day with 48 members and 288 likes. So we're very close to the 300 likes, but that does it, guys. Every now and again, the odd earthquake. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But yeah, this is where we're going to bring the stream to an end. I am going to open a members lounge as soon as this stream comes to an end. There's gonna be a second stream that goes up. Members lounge, members only. And we're going to talk about the craziest shit in the members lounge. Oh my God. If you miss this members lounge, you're totally screwed. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm just messing around. I mean, don't get me wrong. You'll probably miss out on something, but members only. All right. We're going to the members lounge. And did I see the China Hero Project tweet? No, I did not. I haven't been on Twitter. But that concludes this stream today, guys. Again, not too many topics, but certainly a few interesting ones in there. And I just want to extend a big thank you for all the support. You know, you guys are the sponsors of the channel. You guys are the sponsors of these streams. You guys make these streams, as well as the Members Lounge, possible. So to everybody who dropped membership gifts today, thank you guys so much for your continued support. And to everybody who dropped a donation through Super Chat, thank you so much. And as I say that, dude, Corey, you're too kind, man. You guys are making me feel bad for Corey here. He's out here being like, I gotta do it for you, bro. I gotta give you that 5 bomb. Corey wants the reps. I know you, Corey. Corey wants the reps, and he wants the Metal Gear theme. He says, get the iron. We're doing it. We're doing it. Corey just locked it in, bro. He dropped 5 more memberships. He brings us to 53 on the day. So he does. Corey's like, I'm doing it, man. Good shit. Let me cue up the Metal Gear theme here. All right, we're doing it. I'm going to do some shoulder press. I've really been trying to work on my shoulders. Yo, it's that creatine, man. It's that swole juice. I was able to squeeze in a couple more reps there. What was that, like 23 or 24? Normally I burn out. Like I pretty much hit failure or very close to failure, like 18, 19. I'm able to get a couple more reps in now. But Corey, this next one, I gotta give Corey a bonus one here, because this one's for Corey and Steven today, man. These guys showed up big today. Wait, hold on. Hold on. I'm seeing something interesting in the chat. I'm reading a conversation between Titus. I might be misreading it. Are you guys saying that like you don't have the option to like become a member or gift memberships? Or am I reading this wrong? Because I'm telling you, man. Dude, that's Gaming Survivor. That's awesome, bro. That is fucking awesome. That's such a crazy concept to me that you would put me working out on screen and at your gym, and people who are working out are just watching me. That's... See, this is why I do this, though, man. I'm trying to reach the masses. Got to pump the iron. My elbow's been hurting me a little bit, though, man. My right elbow, when I, like, fully lock it out. I don't know why. It's kind of... It's like a... It feels like something's getting pinched for some reason. I do pretty strict form, usually. I'm not, like, reckless with the weights. Chris, you're saying you can't gift anything... Titus, you're saying, yup, exactly. Yeah, it always frustrates me when I see people saying that because I don't know. Like I've contacted YouTube support before and they are not, I'm going to be honest, like they're really not helpful. Like they're just like, yeah, we don't know either. And I'm like, okay, like, and that's all the more reason why I give such big thanks to those who support, because you know it's just, I know that there are people who would like to, but for some reason YouTube doesn't allow it. I'm about to go to TikTok, man. I'm like, let me ask, how many of you would follow me to TikTok? Can I stream here and TikTok? Is that a thing that's allowed? When's the leg day stream? You're never gonna see me stream leg day, bro. Not because I do legs, but I don't do them as often, I'll be honest, but shit's too intense. I don't know. Mrs. MBG was talking to me recently, and she's like, I think you'd blow up on TikTok Live, like, real quick. I don't know about that. Like, I don't think I could go to TikTok, man. I don't even have a TikTok account, dude. I wish YouTube would be more aggressive about helping streamers grow, because I will be honest with you, man, YouTube is not the most ideal platform to try to grow with streams. I mean, there's Twitch, of course, but it's tough, man, because like this is where my audience is, and I know that if I were to say like, oh, I'm going to Twitch or anywhere else, I know that most people are not going to follow. And I don't blame them, because that shit's annoying. You know, like you guys are subscribed here. You guys come to YouTube. You guys are I'm used to YouTube. I just wish YouTube would, like, they're not doing that bad. I just wish that they would do a little bit more to make it so that, like, if you choose to mostly stream on YouTube, that you're not really punished for it. Because I feel like YouTube kind of punishes you for choosing to stream, like, more than making videos. But anyway, Corey, I got to give you one more. Let me see. I'll do a second set here. I got to play the other Metal Gear theme. You're going to hear the regular one play. I'll see if I can get a different one. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. Wait, wrong one. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Oh, man. I did take my... Dude, I'm telling you, man. It's that fucking creatine. I'm feeling it. Like, I'm genuinely feeling it right now. I'm getting a, like, really good pump. It's also nice and warm outside. Got the windows open. All right. Let's see. Where are we at here? How's the burn feeling? I'm feeling it, dude. In a good way. I'd like to think Kojima gets stronger every time MBG works out. Dominic Hunter is saying you're freaking massive, man. Well, I appreciate that. I saw somebody ask if I think I could bulk up to 200 pounds. I'm not sure. I've never made it to 200 pounds. Truthfully, this is the most I've ever weighed. When I was in my early 20s and mid 20s, I usually hovered around 155 and 165. And now I'm 30. I think I'm like 182, 183. So I think I could get to 200 if I pushed hard enough. But yeah, dude, this is like day 4 on creatine, and I'm already starting to feel it. 200 pounds is huge for my height. Yeah, I don't want to be like overweight, you know? Corey's like, breathe, son. Making faces might show character, but no real use. Dude, you sound like Snake, bro. Corey sound like Snake. I'm 5'8". I'm 5'8". That's day 4, bro. That's not creatine. Dude, I promise it's creatine. So I've thought about like going unnatural in the past, but I could never bring myself to do it. So just know, and this is dead, I would never lie. Like if I was ever on steroids, I would straight up tell you like what I take, how much I take, but I could never bring myself to do it. So just know, anything you see, and this isn't a bragging thing, I'm just like serious, it's natural. Now to be clear though, I've been working out since I was 14 years old. I'm 30, so I've been working out for half my life. So a lot of the gains that I have were made over that time period. But yeah, I would like to see if I can achieve a new peak this summer. You're saying that means 5'3", everyone adds a little. I promise you, I'm 5'8", dude. If I wanted to add a little, I'd say I'm like 5'11" or 5'10", but no, I'm 5'8". My father was 5'8". I'm 5'8". Yeah, right now I'll shoot for 190 pounds. All right, guys. Wow. Okay, we're getting closer to the 4-hour mark. And I want to give a shout out to Synther's G-Man. He comes in, he decides he wants to join the MBG army, which is awesome to see. So Synther's G-Man, welcome aboard. Welcome to the MBG army. New recruit. Really appreciate that, bro. He brings us up to 54 members on the day. And I got a couple of milestone chats here. The dude says, nah, I'm not saying you're not natty. It's just the creatine hasn't activated yet. You got to load 20 to 30 grams a day for 2 weeks at least. Yeah, that's true. The loading phase I don't do. I don't know. I'm like intimidated by that. The idea of taking like 20 to 30 grams of creatine a day, that really intimidates me. So I do it the slow way. I just take 5 grams a day, and I know it takes about like a month, I think, or so for it to really saturate. So maybe this is just the progress I've been making, you know? I mean, you guys have to admit, since the start of this year, dude, I've been streaming a lot. We've been doing reps, like not every stream, but almost every stream, dude. And I was serious. I said, like, I want to see if I can make progress. You know, I think we're starting to make some. So, all right. The dude, thank you for that. We have Ghetto God, a member for 11 months. He says, set up Streamlabs donations. YouTube takes 30% of your donations, and Streamlabs takes 0%. And everyone can donate, and it will pop up on screen. What? Shit, dude. Ghetto God. I'm going to have to look into this. I didn't even know that was a thing. You know, it's interesting because on Streamlabs, I see... I feel like I've seen a donations tab, but I never thought anything of it. I always thought it was just like whoever you're integrated with, like YouTube or Twitch or whatever. If that's true, that's crazy. Wait, so just to follow up on this a little bit, Ghetto God, are you saying that, well, hold on, how does that work though? Because how would you donate through Streamlabs on YouTube? How does that work? Because like on YouTube, would you have to click a link, I guess? You can create your own donations with your own audio and GIFs or videos. An MBG link in the description. Oh shit, I had no idea. Wow, that could be a game changer, dude. That could be a game changer. Can you leave like a message? Kind of like a super chat? Wow, all right. Yeah, I had no idea. I'm definitely going to have to look into this. You can leave a message. Oh, wow. Wow. That's wild, dude. Okay. Yeah, I'll look into this for sure because that could be hugely helpful. Because I've seen people say before, like, dude, I don't like the fact that YouTube takes 30%. You know, we would like to just support you entirely directly. And I always just kind of thought, well, not much I can do about it. But if that's true, I'll have to check that out. I appreciate you letting me know, Ghetto God. You can even have AI read the message. Oh, shit. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know about this. Yeah, I'll talk to Mrs. MBG. We'll look into this. We'll see if we could set something up. That sounds great, actually. AI reading my super chats. Man, AI is really taking over. But guys, with that being said, I am going to end this stream and move over to the members lounge. Corey is saying myself, Pops, and Bro are around 6'1". I've been a solid 250, 60 since I was 17. Damn, dude. That's like beast mode there. To me, that's like intimidating. Corey Landiga intimidates me with his 6'1" self. And his 6'1", 250, 260 self. No, I'm just kidding, bro. That's good though, dude. I remember, dude, I think the tallest person I've ever seen in person, like standing directly in front of me, was like a person who was like 6'7". They're fucking huge, dude. Like, I could not believe how tall they were. I was like, what the heck? That's crazy. But anyway, all right. That does it for this stream, guys. Went a lot longer than I expected it to. So we're going to move over to do a short members lounge where me and the members hang out exclusively. So if you are a channel member, I'm going to put that lounge up in just a couple of minutes. But again, before I go, huge shout out to this community and a huge thank you to everybody who, again, shows their support. We did crush 300 likes. We did crush 50 members. We're sitting at 54 members. You guys, seriously, you guys are the legends. You guys are the GOATs. You guys always come through for me in this community. So thank you so much. Also want to make sure I give a big shout out to Devil Shooter. He does the timestamps for the streams. So if you see him in the comments, give him a big thank you. I know he really appreciates that. And so, all right, guys. Again, members, I'll catch you in the lounge. To everybody else, I will catch you guys in the next proper stream. So until then, take care, guys. Don't forget to take your creatine.